They love her when she is submissive, when she is sensual, when she is fine. But they hate her when she expresses what is on the feminine mind. Welcome. My name is Linnea, and you are watching The Feminine Mind. I hope you all had a really good weekend. I am here today to do the first review that I've ever done on this channel, okay? And it is a review of a video that I put out last year at the end of October. It is called Afua Rose, the Trauma Pimp. So the reason for this session is because I have decided, which I've mentioned in previous live streams, that I'm going to be going through the Afua Rose psychology, the movement, her personal psychology, the movement. I'll also even be looking at her audience and really digging into what is going on there and using my own critical analysis. I know we all have our own, faculties for critical thinking. And I think at a time like this in society, it's really important that we always engage the critical mind. And so I decided that before I even move forward to continue to unpack the information about Afua Rose, it is quite important that I go back to uncover some things that I've already done. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. What I'll be doing is I'll be playing the video, and at certain points within the video, I will be giving some feedback because this video is already on my channel. So if you see anything that you like, please subscribe. Thank you to all of my new subscribers. I've gained so many subscribers over the past 3 days. And big up to everybody out there. Please remember, this channel is specifically for those who are trying to make sure that they live enriching lives, that they have clean hearts. Do you know what I'm saying? Regardless of your gender, like having a clean heart. Because one thing that I have definitely discovered through my journey, through my life journey, is that a clean heart is not based on someone's gender. Do you understand what I mean? So whether you are male or female, there are many discrepancies within the faculty of the human and within the human race, as you can see all over the planet. You can see all different types of things happening, good and bad, but they are usually amongst both genders. So thank you so much. And also thank you to everyone who has reached out to me about their own experiences with or of Afua Rose. It is really important for the work I'm putting out. I will be sharing some of these personal accounts, bringing to the fore. And essentially what kicked off this whole live streaming that I'm doing was the arrest that Afua Rose experienced. I think it was last week, Friday. And she was arrested and charged with malicious communication and hate speech. And it was this that actually made me do my first live. And I will be continuing because, to be fair, I have a lot on my mind. I always do. But this is something that I wanted to make the most of the opportunity to start to bring some awareness, some clarity. Now, some people have been reaching out to me and asking me, do I come from a psychotherapy background? And I absolutely do not come from a psychotherapy background. If Afua Rose is an example of what studying psychotherapy does for someone, then I personally am totally uninterested. But I do come from a creative and wellness background, okay? I am a musician, I am an author, I'm a teacher. In addition to that, I am a wellness practitioner. I'm a certified meditation and yoga teacher. I am a diviner, and I work with astrology. And so it's good for me to come and share because everyone has a little different, perspective into the world. And my background has definitely enriched my perspective of these topics, as well as topics like patriarchy. And I noticed that a few people have been reaching out to me asking me, well, what do you mean patriarchy? That's patriarchy. And that's because patriarchy is deemed as a system that basically takes the power away from women and gives all of the power to men. But in fact, there's much more to it than that. And so I do feel that moving forward, I will be doing some special videos just to explore patriarchy, the effects of patriarchy, the reasons why patriarchy exists, and also to explain that patriarchy affects both men and women. Okay. Now, it more negatively affects women, but it does perversely, negatively, and destructively affect men too.
So even though men mostly benefit from patriarchy, there are some very negative effects that they also experience, even if this is unknowingly. And that is what I'd like to explore moving forward. Without true knowledge of patriarchy, we can't approach women's rights from the right space. And I do feel that that is one of the issues with Afua. She always puts patriarchy in the same, category as white supremacy, as racism. And the truth is, okay, although these things do operate together, they are also separate things. And patriarchy actually existed on this planet before white supremacy was born. And it's important to know that. So within, for example, communities, I'm Jamaican, I'm a Black woman living in the UK. Okay, you've got Caribbean people, you've got people of African descent, you've got South American people. These are all Black-skinned people. Everyone seems to be very, very aware of what racism is. Racism, white supremacy. But if you look at all the different races on the world, including our own, well, including my own, not everyone is as aware of what patriarchy is. And that's why patriarchy is one of the best kept secrets. And it's something that I look forward to truly unpacking. I've already started speaking about patriarchy in my documentary series, Life After Death. Okay. And I personally feel, which I will bring this point forward, that Afua Rose's approach, not necessarily her work, her approach, her maliciousness, the cult-like kind of approach even to how she works with women, the cult-like and patriarchy-induced way she perceives women and men, is actually because she's deeply affected by her ignorance of patriarchy. And if you allow yourself to learn, at length, not just the first sentence, what does it mean in the dictionary, but to truly learn about patriarchy, then you will actually unpack a lot more information. And for that reason, I think it's one of the world's biggest secrets. So it's been 5 days since Afua Rose was arrested. And this video actually came out October 31st. It was a Black History Month and Halloween special because it is a little bit spooky. So I do hope to see feedback, to hear how you feel about these topics. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, let's jump right in. I'm just going to open the video from scratch because the last time that I came here, my video was jumping or it wasn't playing. So I figured I'd upload it organically. Afua Rose, the trauma pimp. Date of birth, July 4th, 1969. Gender, female. Place of birth, London, United Kingdom. Ethnicity, Black Caribbean African descent. Heritage, first generation Black British, daughter of 2 Windrush immigrants from Jamaica. Religion, born again Christian, baptized following incarceration. Also claims to be a Hebrew Israelite. Political affiliation, Pan-African, allegedly. Marital status, divorced from Viv Amun, father of her second set of children. The identity of first child's father is publicly unknown. Separated from fellow convict and father of her last child. Convictions, served prison sentence in HM prison
for international narcotics trafficking. Profession, psychotherapist. Allegedly. Wants to be known for standing up against SA culture in South London primarily, being a poet and vocalist, with the exception of performance poetry as part of a duo throughout the 90s. There is no recent track record of this. Known for immorality and unethical conduct towards both men and women, flamboyant lying, slackness and vulgarity, naming black men, predominantly from South London, as SA offenders with or without evidence, and directly exposing her female audience to ex-convicts without disclosing this information. Known for hating black men and advising her audience to only date men who are not of dominant African descent, hating black women who don't support her cause. Also known for harassing and attacking women who refuse to be controlled by her narrative, verbal abuse against women in the sex industry and recipients of plastic surgery, partnering with Patrick Nathaniel Knight, aka Killer P, a known convict who did time in HM prison for beating the mother of his child with an ironing board, and has an extensive history of domestic violence against women, narcotics dealing, robbery, and crying online about being beaten up by an older man.
So let's just stick a pin. I want to pause that and to review that introduction. So as you can see, she has quite an illustrious background. She is a convicted criminal, okay? But more importantly, she's aligning herself with a man who has done time. This is Patrick Nathaniel Knight, who has done time in prison for DV, okay? That is violence against women. Now, this is a pick and choose type mentality. And it really ties into the idea that Afua Rose is operating from a kind of the mob. Hey, go and sit down. That's my puppy. She's crying to come out. Go sit down. The mob. She's coming from a cult-like mentality where as long as you rock with her, it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter, you know, who you are in real life. Okay. She is essentially going to partner with you because she's looking for people to join an organization in a mob-like fashion, essentially, to ensure her survival. Okay, so that's an interesting point that I wanted to just highlight.
Patrick Nathaniel Knight has been renounced by his immediate and wider South London community for allegedly being an undercover police informant. Also known for admitting to scheming for several months under a false identity to entrap the father of her youngest child in order to create a viral video where she chases him through a London park while berating him for unpaid child support. Claims to work with the Met Police. The Met Police have categorically denied these claims. Several defamation suits against her. Some are presently in court.
Okay, so she claims to work with the Met Police, and I did see her saying this at her march, at the His Time Is Up march, and this has not been confirmed by the police. I myself have contacted the police, literally in my little investigative energy. I've contacted them to ask them to confirm that she works with them, and they actually did not confirm that. They say they have no records essentially of this. She claims a lot of things, right? So if she's working with the police and the police aren't acknowledging this, then maybe she's just bringing secrets like behind the scene to the police. And it's interesting because I feel that if she was working with the police, it's very likely that by this point, she would have had some more convictions, as this is part of her campaign pledge, essentially. It's not just to speak about the assaulters of women and to bring the women to tell their stories and then to harass and bully not only the people who have been accused online, but their families, regardless of how old, how able. It's not just this kind of online mob bullying. That is not just the mission, right? But from what I can see, she does try to get convictions. And I feel that, again, if she was working with the police, then by this stage, she would have reached somewhere.
Here are the definitions of some of the key terms used within this video. Trauma. Trauma is a psychological and emotional response to a distressing or disturbing event or series of events that are perceived as physically, mentally, or emotionally harmful. Trauma can have a profound impact on an individual's mental and emotional well-being, and it can manifest in various ways. Trauma can lead to a wide range of emotional and psychological responses: anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, dissociation, and other mental health issues. Individuals who have experienced trauma may also struggle with trust issues, emotional regulation, and self-esteem. Trauma can have physical manifestations such as insomnia, nightmares, fatigue, and heightened stress responses, fight or flight reactions. Needless to say, in a patriarchal society, women and children experience chronically high levels of trauma. And for the descendants of the Caribbean and Windrush generation, who represent a large percentage of the South London and London population, there has been endless traumas endured by women at the hands of unevolved males, and sometimes at the hands of other women. Unfortunately,
So what I would like to say about that last point, that sometimes in a patriarchal society, not sometimes, it's a major thing, that women and children do experience large amounts of abuse at the hands of other men. And I said unevolved men because obviously it's not every man, but the man who hasn't evolved to control his lower natures, to control his impulse for violence, okay, is the man that would put women and children at the most risk. But I also say, right, that sometimes because of patriarchy, this abuse can also take place at the hands of other women. And in my personal experience, so this isn't even an allegation, in my personal experience, I have experienced large amounts of relentless abuse from Afua Rose because she is one of those women. And it's such a strange paradox because on one side, she's saying she's about women's rights, yada, yada. But the truth is, if you do not submit to her, I don't know, that's why I keep using the word cult, right? So if you do not submit to the way she wants to do things, if you don't agree with her, then regardless of your personal experience, she will also try to attack, abuse, and I don't even want to mention defamation. I actually am talking about verbal abuse, the worst kind of sending out her little goons and cronies. And that essentially, in my opinion, is because she is also a perpetrator of patriarchy. There's something about her psyche, and I'm going to use many examples from her own mouth, from her own videos, to show this, how she's so infected by patriarchy that although she appears or maybe even believes, and she probably is, yeah, going after women's rights and going after highlighting awareness of the issues surrounding the safety of women, but because her psyche is infected essentially by a patriarchal religion, okay, Christianity is a patriarchal religion. It believes in a male God at the end of the day. It believes that the mother of the Messiah had to be virginal, yeah, in order to have this Messiah. Because she hasn't cleansed her mind of patriarchy, she also puts women at risk as much as she does for men.
Times change, we have seen an increase in barbaric behavior from women. This year alone in Jamaica, several women are on trial for unliving their own children and the children of others. A number of women who have been charged with the responsibility of raising, protecting, and nurturing the children of this planet have become insipid with a new level of inhumane behavior and, unfortunately, behaviors that are usually associated with males. So when exhibited in women, it is understandably shocking to society. Pimp, a man who exploits women and/or controls sex workers, taking a large percentage of their earnings in return. This is often accompanied by mental, verbal, and physical abuse. Patriarchy. A system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. A social disease bred in humans through mental conditioning that predates white supremacy and is largely found to be rooted in religion, where doctrine suggests that women are not equal citizens to men, but rather born to become their property through marriage, slavery, inheritance, and war. Trauma pimp. The term trauma pimp is not a widely recognized or standard term within psychological or clinical contexts. It is often used informally to describe someone who exploits or manipulates another person's traumatic experiences for their own gain, whether it be for attention, sympathy, financial benefit, or some other personal advantage. This could involve exaggerating or falsely claiming traumatic experiences, using someone else's trauma for personal gain, or otherwise exploiting vulnerable individuals. This is a No Frills Black History Month and Halloween exclusive about a 54-year-old grandmother. Her name is Denise Rose and her public name is Afua Rose from Afua Speaks YouTube Channel and the current director of Afua Speaks Limited. In her own words, Afua Trauma Pimp Rose is a psychotherapist, an activist, poetess, vocalist, social commentator, and Pan-Africanist. Her self-description is as elaborate as it is fraudulent, as following my own personal experience with her and upon completing my investigation into her conduct and character, this glory-seeking female, who I must refrain from defining as a woman due to her inability to grow into the years she has spent on this planet, is a trauma pimp. I am here today to address the demonic behavior and consistent misconduct of Afua Trauma Pimp Rose, as is my responsibility not only as an innocent recipient of her venomous character, but also as a keen observer of the corruption, treachery, and immoral behavior of a female who has relinquished her right to be defined as a woman. How, you may ask, can a female relinquish her right to be defined as a woman? Simple. A woman relinquishes the right to be seen as a woman when she refuses to utilize the ultimate feminine qualities of compassion, empathy, and love universally associated with being a woman. Femininity is not, in contrast to modern perspective, speaking in a soft voice, being submissive to the opposite sex, and dressing in a way men find appealing. That narrative emerges from patriarchal conditioning. Ultimate femininity is actually being loving, empathetic, compassionate, creative, and powerful. This can manifest as gentle or fierce power, either the soothing, regenerating balm that women are both adored and used for, or a penetrative cutlass of self-defense for self, loved ones, humanity, and nature, depending on what each situation requires. However, when a female seeks to profit, not from spearheading justice and healing for women who have experienced sexual trauma, but from telling their mostly unverified stories to an angry audience of SA survivors, while deliberately creating no space for healing, rehabilitation, and growth to occur, especially a female who claims to be a trained psychotherapist, who has full access to healing tools and awareness of ethical behavior, one can see her as a tool of destruction. And
I just want to stop this and I want to review this because where I've spoken about femininity, and obviously there are misconceptions of what femininity is, and femininity is not your appearance. Do you know what I mean? It's not your tone of voice, and it is more, it flows out through characteristics. So I do feel that being feminine and being fierce can definitely live in the same room. But in the case of DJ Styler, while Afua was what do you call it, accusing him, harassing him, she not only accused him, she started to harass his grandmother, who is an elderly lady who has had no issues with Afua. And this is an example of where she doesn't have any kind of morals, any kind of discernment. She doesn't care. Once she starts and launches her mission of destruction, she has no concern for who that mission affects. And that is not feminine. Do you know what I mean? That is callous. That's not a feminine characteristic. And if she had learned a bit more about how you can actually embody womanhood, essentially, without destroying everything in your path, how you could even focus on one individual without chastising, harassing, disrespecting, insulting, ridiculing family members that have nothing to actually do with the issue, she would have understood that you can actually fight righteous wars. Do you know what I mean? You can be a warrior. I am a warrior. You can be a warrior, but you still have to operate from a space that reflects the fact that you are indeed a woman and therefore feminine.
Exploiter of human pain, and for lack of a better term, a trauma pimp. Afua Rose seemingly started her anti-SA campaign 2 years ago from a place of genuine concern for women in the South London community who had made several allegations about being assaulted by a well-known man named Vincent Rat. She exposed the depth of this travesty online, and consequently, several official bodies, including the Met Police and children's homes, were also complicit in what appears to be a tirade of SA against women and children going back several decades. She began her journey on Instagram, where she would go live and speak about these issues. Consequently, her platform grew and attracted both supporters and inevitable enemies. She then moved her platform to YouTube as she sought to monetize from the pain of others. Women kept coming forward, and Afua continued to expose men who were alleged assaulters of women. Now, this all sounds great on paper, especially if one has a non-critical bias towards women and their safety. But the truth isn't quite as simple. The initial problem is that Afua Rose doesn't only call out male assaulters of women, she also calls out men who are innocent of the serious allegations she makes. And due to her negligence in fact-checking and limited resources, she has become both a celebrated and hated figure, depending on the intelligence and integrity of those who have any perspective about her work.
In response to my 2 videos that I did over the weekend about Afua Rose, I had a lot of her followers on both YouTube and TikTok coming forward to defend Afua. And even in their defense, many of them admitted, which you can go and check the comments of some of my videos, that she does get it wrong sometimes. So her focus is to attack, to point out, to harass, to vilify people who she feels, well, men essentially, who she feels are villains. But in the process, she does get it wrong. And so she literally does this. She attacks, humiliates, highlights, raises awareness about people who are innocent. And I found it funny that even her own followers are acknowledging, which is good, because that's honesty, it's critical thinking. It is important to be real about things and to say, hey, this is her goal, but she often gets it wrong, which also means that when she gets it wrong, she herself becomes the villain. She becomes the abuser. And what happens? What happens to the families of people, even the individuals? Now, she is dealing with traumas that women have experienced, but she has no issue about instigating and causing other people to suffer traumas, even people who are innocent. There are several people that she's called out who are innocent. And this is the reason why I personally think that's very dangerous, and why I encourage women, if they want to speak out about their abuse, I don't have any issue with that. I have no issue with that. But they should do it on their own platform. They shouldn't be afraid. Go and grow your platform. Go and speak about your own experience, because when you link with someone who has a history of calling out, yes, some people are legitimately abusers, but some people are not. Afua Rose even posted a picture of a woman with her father, a grown woman with her father, or it was a video, sorry, and was saying that the father was being, you know, actually inappropriate with the woman. And that was not the case. That is dangerous. Who makes someone feel, or what makes someone feel that they have so much unapologetic energy that they can just say whatever they want to say, not be held accountable? And this is the reason why I started this live, because when she was arrested, I was happy. Yes, I was. And you know why? Because it's good to see people being held accountable. And this is the reason why it's important to understand, yes, when it comes to patriarchy, of course, women are more vulnerable than men. But when it comes to humans, some people, their hearts are corrupt. Their minds are corrupt, regardless of their gender. And so you can have some wicked, toxic, abusive men, and you can also have wicked, toxic, abusive women. And Afua Rose is definitely, absolutely one of those wicked, toxic, abusive women who has no conscience. Okay, she has no conscience. And given her age, given the fact that she's a mother, a grandmother, given her alleged mental health qualifications, she should know better. I understand that a lot of her audience, they just don't know better. I feel like critical thinking isn't that common these days. And, you know, when I was growing up, they used to say, like, common sense isn't common. So I can't even put that down to the audience. But I was happy that she has been charged for what she's been charged with, because she is now being held accountable by external forces. And that is important. It's not, we can't be biased. You get what I'm saying?
I know this from first-hand experience as a survivor of SA and a survivor of the mental disease that is patriarchy. While I have used the internet to document and investigate the perpetrators of my own assault, Afua Rose hasn't centered her work around her own child grooming and molestation experiences. Instead, her mission is to inflate her own name by monetizing the assault stories of other women, which makes it practically impossible for her to verify all the stories she reports, as many occurred decades ago. She also simply needs to hear a story to decide if it is accurate, which I document in the video, My Experience with Ex-Con Afua Rose When Ego Eclipses Mission, Toxic Femininity and Treachery. I know this view may not sit well with some women, but being a woman does not make you immediately moral. Living in Jamaica, I grew to know of several women who falsely accused men of SA for several personal reasons, and so as important as it is to hold sacred space and empathy for survivors of SA, once someone is human, discernment has to be applied regardless of their gender. Basically, some women are wicked. In her evident hate for black men, it is understandable why Afua Rose jumps on almost every report that comes to her. Her channel relies on these stories as she can provide no further education, and when they become sparse, she uses her platform to bully and attack innocent women and men. There have been cases where women have recanted the statements made against their ex-partners and admitted publicly online that they had sent in malicious reports to Afua, and yet she only recently adjusted her verification process when I called her out online for this malpractice. Recently, a teenage girl was unalived in Croydon, South London, and Afua Rose irresponsibly posted a photo and details of a young black man who she accused of committing this heinous crime. This immediately put an innocent male's life at long-term risk, and even when she recanted the statement after the Met Police announced having the correct suspect in custody, rather than take responsibility for her unprofessional and cruel conduct, she attempted to brush it off by claiming to have seen numerous people posting the information, which led to her sharing it.
So imagine that you have your son that you're raising in London. Okay, you're a mother. You have your son that you're raising in London. A teenage girl is taken out violently. It's a terrible crime. And your son, who has nothing to do with it, is accused by any random person online, because I don't even know where this information initially came from. And then Afua Rose, a woman who runs a platform that is essentially focused on the SA of women, sees the accusation and decides to post it on her platform to all of the women that are already quite angry, and in most cases, rightfully, with men. How would you feel as that mother? When your son is featured on this platform that is literally about women's rights and SA and is based in the UK, and you know, and your son knows, and even the person who took the poor girl's life also knows it wasn't him. Do you know the type of damage that happens in that case? Meaning, even though it wasn't him, a lot of people will never see the true information. A lot of people won't see when it's come out that it's actually someone else. This boy, who was also a teenager, was not being investigated by the police. He wasn't being deemed as a suspect. And here comes the mother, the grandmother, the elder, who is carelessly, under the guise of women's rights, carelessly defaming and putting essentially a young man's life at risk. There's no social responsibility. There's no personal responsibility. Even the idea that she could say, well, I saw other people, you know, hey, I'm just seeing your messages. Blessings, Coco, Shani, and Angie. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for your comments. I will read them out. So even the idea that you can say as a big tough back, I know some hours I talk about this big tough back woman, but I just so many people them stay. There has to come a time, 20 years around the planet, 30 years around the planet, 40 years around the planet, you have a psychotherapist, alleged degree, 50 years around the planet, and you think it's appropriate without any evidence whatsoever. It's a perfect example of how she moves. Oh, I saw that online. Yeah, it must be true. Let me post it. It doesn't show any critical thinking at all. Do you understand what I mean? So, and also, this Bella, I'm just going to take her off from now, because one thing I realized that is actually something that I will make another video about is this. I never came online and mentioned Afua Rose's name once. Do you understand? I never mentioned her name negatively once. I stepped away from her group. I distanced myself. I wasn't saying anything. And then on the back of one of her goons having an issue with me, Afua Rose started to attack me online. But for some reason, it's coming like, say, it's a bully policy, which is that it's okay for her to chat and lie and say anything she wants to say and drag every single thing from all these other liars, that even people who, which I will play my next video before to explain. I'm going to play the video I did before this one to explain why I even started talking about Afua Rose, right? But for some reason, these grannies, these tough black women, they're so used to their wrong and strong energy. They're giving me the vibe, and they have been consistently since last year, that it's okay for the trauma pimp to sit down, to abuse me, to attack me, to slander me, to disrespect me and mine, like they don't have children. But the day that I get up, oh, I'm deflecting, I'm being negative, that means you guys are patriarchal biatches. Like, you're patriarchal yourself. You think that you're protecting women from men. Who protects the women from women like Afua? Why is it that it's okay for Afua to say anything out of her mouth about anyone for no reason at all, okay, and to instigate war and animosity against people? But when those people have something to say, then all of a sudden you guys have critical thinking. And move from me with that. That is not critical thinking. That is some kind of cult. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm not in a cult. I don't operate under any kind of cult. My cult is my family. Do you understand? And I personally I'm not here for that. I know a lot of people have experienced that. But what it is, Afua, and I always say this, she made a mistake because she didn't realize who I personally am. Okay? So that kind of bully mentality that these women have, which is okay, which means it's okay for Afua to sit down and talk and say all kind of trash out of her trashy mouth. But I must just humble myself, and I don't have the right on my own platform to address her issues. To me, that is pathetic. It's not only pathetic, it's duplicitous, it's lacking integrity, it's lacking morality, and that's why they are so vexed that Afua got arrested. Okay, right? Go and talk to the police about that.
Proudly calls her Instagram page the Wall of Shame and regularly threatens men and women about potentially posting them on it if they don't conform to her skewed reality. Additionally, she colludes with known trolls, people who run false accounts solely to defame others, to create spin and propaganda for her channel. Afua functions much more like a politician who is running for government than a woman who is seeking justice. Given the justice systems of most countries around the world, it is hard to get a conviction for SA. But in the case of Afua Rose, in contrast to the amount of allegations she has made online, her conviction rate is sorely lacking. Allegations have surfaced that Afua Rose is more sinister than it may appear. She is alleged to be a Freemason and part of a demonic cult that generates and then consumes negative human energy in order to sustain itself.
I want to give an example here before this comes in about how Afua is definitely more sinister than it appears. I showed a video in my last live showing how she pretended not to know this man called Kevin Bennett when I was fully aware that she knew of the man, for about 6 months prior. Okay, now that might seem like a simple thing, but basically she made a whole video. Oh, you know, I don't think I still have it. She made a whole video about her not knowing. I'm not going to play the whole video because it's on my last video, but did you hear what she said? I learned very, very recently that there's some connection between Kevin Bennett and Killer P. And I can vouch, I could go to court, literally, and confirm that I spoke with her about Kevin Bennett 6 months prior to her making this video. And to me, that is sinister. So even sometimes the way how she presents information to her own audience, she's not lying down the road. She's deciding to go online and to lie. And when does she lie? When other people have something to say. That's when she starts to lie. Now, this is one of my other reasons to show that she is very sinister and she's deeply affected by patriarchy. I met Afua because I was putting out my own content on my own platform about generational history, generational curses, generational blockages, which include child abuse, SA, dishonesty in families, patriarchy, included a range of themes that I like to speak about because they're things I've experienced, right? Afua invited me to speak on her platform and to tell my story, and I declined. And from that point, she asked me to come and talk about my documentaries, which I did. Since the day that I did that, every time Afua was going live, she would ask me, please come, sis, come on my live. And everyone who knows me personally, I am Miss Busy. I am busy. I'm always doing things. So I did, out of respect. She's an elder. She's got a cause that I believe in, which is women's rights. At the time, I didn't see just how perverse and demonic this was, what she was doing. I hadn't watched back all of the videos. So from the video where I came and joined her, I started to watch what was going on. She also asked me to come and perform at her march. His time is up. Now, she doesn't know that I know that she contacted other artists prior to asking me, and they declined her. Okay. I had no intention of going to her march. I'm not into marches. I'm into critical analysis, wellness, and creativity. But out of respect, I am that chick, like out of respect, you're my elder. That's how I was raised. I said, okay, let me go to the march. I went to the march. I performed at the march, which is what she asked me to do. She tried to give me some money out of the charity bucket, and I declined that money. Okay. And again, she got arrested because she was harassing her child's father online. She called me. She told me she was arrested. He's taken her to court. She was in tears. I calmed her down. I prayed for her on the phone. And I just said, look, don't keep dragging up the past. You just need peace, which I mentioned on several videos. Later on to this, I told her, which is also a fact, that someone in her midst, Killer P, Patrick Nathaniel Knight, was not legitimately in support of her. And as a result of that conversation, we fell out because she started saying, well, I heard this about you. I heard that about you. And I was like, bruh, why have you been communicating with me, essentially calling on me? You want me to come police station every minute? You want me to come and do this march? You want me to protest about things that have nothing to do with women's rights? Why are you always asking me to come on your lives? And now you're flipping the script. Okay, I told her, you are not my mama. And I came off the phone. I never mentioned it online. I'm not like that. I'm not that kind of person. Me and you have an issue. I'm not going to run on the internet. And she didn't say anything for months. Please bear in mind that I met Afua on the back of putting out my own video about my own assault experience. And it was important because coming from Jamaica, where the abuse, DV, SA against women is prolific. Do you understand? Women are always, even recently, in the last 6 months, 2 women organized, assassination or taken out by their own partners. And this is something that I am passionate about. And I have been for as long as I know myself. So after that, she realized like 3 months after that me and Killer P, it wasn't too good. She already knew this. And that is the reason why Afua Rose started to attack me online. And I thought to myself, am I not the same woman that you say you're trying to defend? Is it because I didn't come and tell my story on your platform? Is it because you weren't able to monetize pimping off of my trauma because you're a trauma pimp? Is that the reason why now you're now dealing with me like I'm not even a survivor? Do you understand what I'm saying? There is no womanhood to that. Where is your womanhood? What the hell? Me and you have a separate issue. Why is it now appropriate to attack me, my business, my descendants that you don't even know, my history, simply because you can no longer use me? Are you serious? You invited me to come and perform at your march. And all of a sudden, because I'm not on the same side of the road as you, I haven't abused you. I haven't attacked you online. I had nothing to say. And you hear me call Killer P an agent. That's got nothing to do with you, because when I mentioned it to her before, she didn't want to accept it. And yet, I am now not worthy of protection because I'm not on your side. So as far as I'm concerned, that women's rights thing that she's doing, something is shaky, because who does it apply to? Does it only apply to the people who deem themselves as being under Afua Rose? She says she's only here for Black women. I would say, from my experience, she's only there for people who are like sheep. Because in my experience, I lost all of the grace of the fact that I myself am a survivor of assault. Do you get what I'm saying? The person who I exposed online for assaulting me turned out to be a serial assaulter. Several women came forward and gave their testimony. Even to this day, I have more documentaries to come on that issue. So what happened within Afua Rose's psyche that made her now think it was appropriate to try to re-traumatize someone, which is me, who has already healed from so much trauma? That is sinister. That is not someone with a soul, an empathy, or a heart. Is that a narcissist? Is it a sociopath? Or is it a psychopath? Either way, it's one of those three. She has to fall in one of those three. She's not neurally average. So what she says she's about, in my personal experience, separate to what everybody else has experienced, that is categorically a lie. And why does she, as a woman in a space of patriarchy, want to put her type of rulership over other women? That's patriarchy. You're insecure. Every woman has the capacity to lead themselves and to lead families and to lead nations. Why should I be subservient to Afua Rose? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why? She's messed up. And I'm going to do a separate video to say, hey, because I know these reviews, some things I say, they're at different places in the video. My experience of her is she is attacking a woman who has already had assault from a man. So whatever she says she's about, it's a farce. She's looking for followers. She's looking for sheep. She's looking for worshippers. It's a type of cult. Do you understand? Okay. I had to just pause and say, hold on a minute. I want to say this. And so when her dotty foot followers come and say, oh, how dare whose mother? Do you think you're my mum? Are you crazy? Do you think, first of all, I want to tell you guys something. I was raised Rasta. Rasta people are non-conformist. So when you go to school, you can decide if you want to sing the national anthem or not. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing, because you can say, yeah, my parents are really about that. So when you're raised culturally, not religiously, culturally as a Rasta, you tend to be quite observant, because you are in many instances on the outside of the normal society. On Sunday, when everyone's going to church, you're not going to church. You get what I'm saying? When everyone's going to this summer camp or this mass or whatever convention, you're definitely not going. There's a bag of rituals, ceremonies, beliefs. When those things come up for people like, you know, confirmation, baptism, you're not going. You're used to being on the outside. And so I'm thankful that I chose my parents, because I do believe that people choose their parents, right? Because they, in having them as parents, it supported my ability to see things from the outside. So even if I can be in the midst of a group or in the midst of something, I very much have the ability from a child to see things like that. You know, when my grandparents were going to school, I was like, not to school, to church. They were Catholics, and they would go and kiss Jesus's foot. And I used to think, Papa, are you really kissing that statue's foot? Because I, as an avid reader, I had read the Bible. I had read all these Bible, you know, children books as well. And I knew that that was idol worshipping. I was like, Papa, Mama. And on top of it, when they were kissing the Jesus statue, say if everyone was going and kissing here, they would go and kiss the foot because they were a bit scornful. I used to be like, even within the context of your religion. That's the external view. Do you understand? So it's easy for people to run along with this idea that Afua Rose is this or that. So how do you explain the experience that I've had with her? If I wasn't a strong-minded, God-blessed woman, I could be deeply depressed. I could have taken my own life because of what Afua did. She doesn't know what my psyche's like. She tried to destroy me simply because I called a man who has done time in prison for beating up a woman an agent. And there it was. There it was. Anyway, let me hear what y'all got to say. Hey, Angie. Hey, Sully. Angie says, although I admire what Afua's work is with exposing predators to spread awareness because no one else will do it, to be steering away from good and to be focused on cussing people out. Yeah, so that's essentially what I'm saying. It seems like that's what she's doing. I disagree that no one else will do it. Maybe there's not a lot of people doing it in London, but no, if you start to look for people online who are talking about predators and child safety, women's safety, you'll find that there is a community of people doing that. Doing lives on the wrong thing is not it. Absolutely. And then you're sitting down for 4 hours. And then, you know, I literally had to do a 7-hour video in July called Please Don't Call Me Sis to address not just Afua Rose, but several people who I had seen were commenting under her, what do you call it, Instagram post about me. Every last one of them are people who try to use me, you know, people who have helped. I was like, oh no, I'm actually not having this. And so if you look at Please Don't Call Me Sis, the next 8 videos are all about the people who were running up underneath Afua's backside. And the truth is, and I'm going to tell you what this is about, I have run a yoga school, a tarot school, an astrology school. Do you get what I'm saying? I published 2 books, my book and my daughter's book, when she was 13. Okay. I have had this year on Sunday, this is my 10th annual women's gathering. 10th, you know, started in 2015. I left England, I went to Jamaica, and I'm sorry, we have this thing in Jamaica called crab in a barrel syndrome. And the more that I grew is the more issues that I was having specifically with women because of patriarchy. Because what it is, people like it when they think you're all on the same level, because we are all on the same level. But obviously we all have dreams, we all have goals. And I made it my life's purpose to manifest my goals. When me and my daughter published our books, the next year we put on a theatre production at the Canal Cafe Theatre and did a run of a play that we made called In Honor of Us. 4 women, all Black cast, okay? These are the things that these people who have so much to say, including Afua Rose, they don't have the level of accomplishments that I have. And I don't actually lead in my accomplishments, but I can definitely say that every single hater that I saw, that I addressed on my channel, hitching up, writing all type of nonsense about me, they are all people who I have gone out of my way to help in one way or another during my life, but they weren't comfortable with my success, and that sucks. And that is something that more than whatever Afua was dealing with, I have had to heal on that. I have had to be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I started off with some friends, I started growing, and the more I grew, the more either people disappeared or I had to cut them out of my life, because essentially, crab in a barrel syndrome. People don't like to see other people grow. So I'm not accepting what Afua Rose has done. And fortunately, it hasn't just been to me. I am also not a victim of Afua Rose. She tried to victimize me. She tried to re-traumatize me, but she didn't understand that I am connected to a different energy, an ancestral energy. I'm connected to nature, and where people and their mouths, the sun rises, you know, the sun goes down, and I've been very much okay. But I do reject the idea that it's okay for her to abuse me, essentially, to abuse my family, to abuse and try to discredit my work. When I was doing my work, she was locked up in jail for smuggling. Hello. And not only for her to do it, but for her dry foot audience to think that they can come and chastise me for literally respecting my humanity and speaking up. So you guys are prolific bullies, and guess what? I am not the one. I'm not the one. Angie Brown says she thinks, and to be honest, she knows Afua has skeletons in her closet. Everyone's got skeletons in their closet. Do you know what I mean? But this whole Messiah business, like, I could say to any group of people here, if there's anything that you want to bring into reality, whether you want to do a play, if you want to write a book, you want to launch a business. I've had several businesses. I help people to make things happen in their life. I have been doing that for at least 10 years now. I am not just someone who has been, you know, working on my creativity and developing within my careers. I have helped many people to flourish. So I do not appreciate someone who all they can do is sit on the internet and chat. Like, obviously I'm here talking because I've done things that within me I had to do before I could even sit down here and just be talking. I had to publish a book. I had to put an album out. Do you get what I'm saying? Last year, I put out like 6 music videos. I'm creating my new album. I am now at a much more slow pace with my work. But there are many things that I've done in my life that it was like this spiritual pressure, like, I've got to get this done. This whole thing of, oh, I've studied psychotherapy and now I'm just here chatting. I'm not really here for that. I've been to university too. I don't even look at certain things that people look at as, you know, qualifications, or I don't look at things that way, because I know a lot of people who went to university who don't have no sense. Dark Circle said that's sounding effed up. Be Real says, everyone has their opinions. I just want to see how Afua explains herself. It doesn't look good. She won't explain herself. She will lie. She will never apologize. What she needed to do was to come to me and say, you know what, sis, I totally lost my goddamn mind. I am sorry. Because what more can I do? When I was interacting with her, I supported her platform. She kept on asking me on. Them times I wasn't even doing lives on my own channels because I didn't want to. I spent years, some of you may know me from doing lives on Facebook, reading people. I was bored of lives. You get what I'm saying? I was making money doing lives before monetization on Facebook was even a thing. Okay. I did so many yoga classes, the UK, Africa, America, Asia, the Caribbean. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I know that in the seed of my heart, I intuit Afua is jealous of me because she made some choices that made her backside end up in prison for some stupidness. Not even in prison for, like, you know, freedom fighting. Now when she's arrested, people are like, oh, well, you know, you get arrested if you tell the truth. Come on, you're not Malcolm X. You're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not Martin Luther King. You're not saying anything so radical that you'd get arrested for. You got arrested for hate speech. That's not a hero's thing, to get arrested for hate speech and defamation. Dark Circles. Why is it only Black women can join who's been raped? Sounds like you don't want white women in the camp because this is part of the politics. It is a politics thing. Political parties' interest that be the police to lock up Black men. I've seen this with the Black Panthers. Black people can join, but the police is behind it. All right, for me, I understand Afua's psychology. I understand this person who says they're Pan-African and it's their race against the world. And for that, you know, I know that psychology. I know people like that. I grew up around people like that, yeah? So I actually understand, not that I agree, I understand where she's at. But to me, if you're dealing with women's rights and you can't identify that all women are women because they're born with wombs, they have ovaries, they have vaginas, you understand what I'm saying? Then this is still part of your Black thing. This is like, that's why I keep saying fake woke Black. This is part of your Black agenda. And a lot of the time, what this Black agenda does, it makes Black people feel like victims, when what we actually need to do is to step into our strength and to flourish with no excuses. We need to identify and get through our challenges and obstacles. Yes, we do have some obstacles because of our race. We're not to be, you know, like, I was going to swear. We have to make those obstacles our bitch. We can't be the little bitches out here. So since I started I Love My Womb, my all women's movement, I have always made it so that all races can attend. I usually have a predominant Black women. I have white women, Asian women, they all come. And I feel that, you know, I was teaching an African system of yoga. I'm an African yoga teacher. It's Egyptian yoga. I felt that that was enough. I felt like putting a Black woman on the flyer at a time in the UK where you wouldn't really see Black women on any wellness flyer. That was my way, because I believe in self-love. And because I believe in self-love, I feel that if I love myself and my Black skin, then a white woman must love herself and her white skin. Do you get what I'm saying? And an Asian woman must love herself and her Asian skin, her tan skin. I genuinely feel like I understand where she's coming from, but I do have a lady that I want to introduce to this platform. She's another YouTuber. I want us to review some of her work, because a lot of the things that I've learned from her around the biology of women and men, she has helped me to understand the biological aspect of patriarchy, and I had no knowledge of that before. She really says some things that explain why women need to just get on. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, even if you want to have your Black friends and that feels like home, women need to get on with each other and to stop bringing in more barriers. Oh, it's the race now. Oh, it's class, or it's education. Women need to know themselves, and honor other women if you're dealing with women's rights. Why would these women who have been abused put all this in Afua Rose and not a courtroom? I'm confused. I mean, I feel like I can fairly answer that. I personally was assaulted in Jamaica. I had no desire of going through the Jamaican court system because not believe it or not, you should know that it's much worse than the British court system. People can get paid off. Jamaica's even more patriarchal than the UK in regards to women's rights. And even in the UK, I think it's not even 10% of rape cases lead to convictions. I know many women who have been assaulted who do not get any justice in court. So it's not like, again, because of patriarchy, we're not in a society where a rape court case is the same as a fraud court case. There are other crimes that have a much higher conviction rate. Even taking someone out being convicted for that has a much higher court rate. So on that technicality, I understand the end bit. Like, why are they going to someone instead of a courtroom? Because essentially, if so many women on the planet have been assaulted, how many of those women do you really think are going to go to court? Now, separate to the fact that these things are kind of improving, but traditionally, if you were to even go to the police and say to him, say, the man ya did do something to me, him I go start say, so where did I wear? So you understand that kind of thing, like victim blaming, victim shaming. So we're still, I feel, at least a century behind any appropriate types of convictions. And in Afua Rose's case, many of these assaults, not all of them, but many of them, a high number of them, they happened long time ago. So if there was a minimal amount of evidence or little to no evidence, then that would be even worse now. So I understand, like literally, like practically, I understand why most women do not end up in court. Some women feel so embarrassed. They feel so shamed. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's so many things, so many errors. Some women might even tell their mom and their mom just say, just put up your there. That is a big thing in Jamaica as well. My issue isn't the fact that they're not going to court. My issue is not the fact that they're telling their story. My issue is about self-love and self-responsibility. If you want to tell your story, go and do it on your own platform. How about that? Don't take it to someone who is spiritually, morally corrupt. Don't take it to someone that if you don't, because I think sometimes, so what would have happened if I told my story on Afua's platform? Would she have made me tell my story and then turn around and attack me in the same way? And if the answer is yes, that's disgusting. But if it's no, it's disgusting too, because that would mean that she only did that because she couldn't monetize off of my trauma. Now, I've been a wellness facilitator for 14 years. Meditation, yoga, traditional healing. I've literally helped a lot of women, specifically in the areas of trauma recovery. Like that's an area that I've spent many years, working in trauma recovery for women, right? And when I look at it, I'm like, I'm just thankful that I made the decisions that I made. And because I'm not victim-minded, and I do see most things as destiny, I'm also thankful for this experience, because here I was talking about those women who are patriarchal, who end up abusing other women. I've mentioned that in many of my documentaries, if you watch them, and then boom, here comes Afua Rose. Afua Rose saw me being attacked online by two men that I basically put it out that they were serial rapists. So she has no problem attacking, abusing anybody as long as she can't control them. When I did my video, this video, if you look in the description of the original Trauma Pimp video, I mentioned the name of her child, and some of her gross little, pretty little sheep, pretty little goats, we're going to call them goats, some of her followers came and said that I was out of order. And I'm thinking, are you guys sick? I know this woman has been talking about my daughter on her platform. She's never even met her. So how come you go from you're Pan-African, you're here for the Black community, to totally disrespecting, violating, and abusing someone's child because nah, man, that's some demonic stuff. That is some demonic stuff. So I know I paused this video a long time, but I just feel like I had to say that, you know? So Dark Circle says, so this isn't about grape. It's about using the word Black to attract Black women to join in. If you're Asian or white or mixed race and had been raped, basically F off, Afua doesn't care. Basically, because what she's saying is they have their own people to help them. I'm like, you are so off. As a Black woman, I have thankfully helped, assisted from mental health, you know, physical health and emotional health, every race of woman on this planet. And if I am the original woman, you get me, which I do feel like that. If I'm the first woman, this black mother, I feel that that's part of my role, is to help all women. Like, obviously, because I'm Black, I will always attract, or I have so far attracted, let's call it 75%, 70% Black women. But if I can help a woman to feel better in her skin, I have helped men with mental health. I have helped people who have literally lost their mental faculties and knew that if they went to a doctor, they would be sectioned. And I have helped those people. So that's why I don't business with Afua and her psychotherapy. Because I'm like, well, how many people have you actually stopped from being sectioned? Muvangwe. Dark circles. Just letting a certain color of people who join who have been raped is, of course, it's disgusting. But again, that's why I talk about this fake woke Black thing, because you're just here for Black women. So by default, you're only calling out Black people. She's not calling out any other race of people on her platform. So what is it? They're huddling into the corner, and anyone who they deem, even people like myself, I haven't been accused of assault by her. I haven't. So what the backside is she calling my name on her platform? Why? You know? Why is that? That's BS. Square eyes. You lot are, look, that's BS. You're a covert narc. If you want to know about narcissism, you can go and watch my first 3 episodes of exposing narcissism, because I couldn't be further from a narcissist. But I'll tell you this, and I said it before, Afua is either a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath. And I'd like you guys to think about that and let me know what you think, because I will be exploring her in my Exposing Narcissist series. Okay? People who put themselves out for other people are not narcissists. People who go out of their way, like I've gone out my way to help Afua. I've even donated to her campaign. I've listened to her. I've heard all of her baby father stories. You get what I'm saying? That's not narcissism. And the fact is, she attacked me last year, March. So again, it's quite karmic that is this year, March, around the same time that her backside's getting locked up and going through court. But in addition to that, I didn't say anything until July. March, April, May, July. Do the math. I sat on it for 4 months. Do you think that Afua could sit on something for 4 months if someone attacked her? No, because her ego is fragile. Do you understand? I sat on it for 4 months until my ancestors say, yeah, you can carry on, but you're going to have to go and say something now. And I initially, first and foremost, I addressed it for my descendants, my children, and in the future, if I have my children's children, I have a lot of young people that I take care of. I don't talk about that online because I'm not trying to get like applause, basically, because I applaud myself. But I was like, you know what? If YouTube is around when my descendants are here and I am no longer here, I'm going to do some videos so they don't get caught in this Black trap, you know, to hang out with people or to support people just because they're Black and you believe in some of their causes, and to not realize that them same people, whenever their spirit tech them, they will stab you, they will choke you up. Anyway, thanks for listening to that. Let's continue.
As extreme as these allegations may be, they don't seem unfounded when her conduct is thoroughly examined. Here are some questions to consider. Why does Afua Rose refuse to create a charity or non-profit organization around her work? She has stated that she is avoiding white supremacy, an overused excuse by modern Pan-Africans who know it will trigger their audience due to the existence of white supremacy and the impact on the lives of black people. She claims there is too much red tape and financial auditing, which indicates a desire to not be held accountable for the way she uses the funding she receives, largely through donations, which are rarely disclosed to the public. Afua Rose prefers to utilize public funds for her own personal gain without external review. Her business, Afua Speaks Limited, was formed in October 2021 and consistently fails to submit tax documents in a timely manner. It is once again facing a legal strike from the Companies House.
Since the point of me doing this, wow, I'm so big now. Since the time of me making this video, the Afua Speaks business has been dissolved and she's created another business. And you can go on Companies House. I'm not revealing any personal information. This is the reason why I personally don't register companies. I do self-employment because then all of my business stuff isn't online for everyone to see. She dissolved the Afua Speaks without submitting the needed tax papers to show what she had received so she could pay some taxes, right? She created another business. She has a history of doing this. And on top of that, this was all to that address, Ashmore Crescent, which is a residential address that she kept on saying was a business address. And it's recently come out and has been confirmed over the weekend that it came up in court. This is actually where she lives. Now, why do you have a leader who is using their own home address to register a business and is lying to everyone and saying it's not their home address? Like, Afua is always telling lies. She's not just lying on other people. She's telling lies about her own self.
With a view to dissolve the company. Why does Afua accuse men of SA and in cases where it is clearly disproven, refuses to recant her statements? Why does Afua have no concern for the destruction of the families and children connected to those who she spreads allegations about online? Why does Afua attack women online if she claims to be a women's rights activist and claims to know what patriarchy is? What examples
Thank you so much. Sorry about that. So let me just go back. Hey, Kerry. Thank you. I didn't realize the volume wasn't on. So what I was saying is, in regards to Afua abusing people online, women online, I have seen her abuse women to the point of me being in shock. Like, before I even stepped away and stopped talking to her, I stopped watching her content because, you see, my mind, yeah, my mind is not a rubbish heap. It's not, the place where all the garbage trucks go and dash away the rubbish. That's not my mind. So I actually stopped watching her content. But one day someone called me and said, you got to go and check it out. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if she takes these videos down because I know she's watching. I know she's watching. I know her friends are watching. And I know that the volume is good now, right? Good. I'm seeing volume is gone, but just confirm that you can hear me. I know that she has been messaging me and commenting on my YouTube and TikTok from fake accounts. So she may just run and go and take down the videos. Oh, you can hear me. Yes. Thank you, Kerry. She may go and take the videos down because she can't stand up in her truth. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, Skagnetti Jack and Vibrant Libra. Thank you. But she is known for, I don't know if she thinks it's cool, but the way how she'll abuse women. And I always say, like, I'm very dual. I can curse. You get what I'm saying? I can tell someone about themselves if and when the need calls for it. But this whole thing where it's a pattern, it's a habit, it's a ritual even, this let me spew all of my undigested food all over someone, that is actually disgusting. And I'm tired of seeing big women who are supposed to be role models conduct themselves in a way that if my child behaved like that, they would be grounded. Do you understand? I was a very firm parent coming up. Very firm, very firm. And the way how I've seen Afua carry on, I have only ever cussed off one person online. So I don't know. Let me just ban this person because it's one of Afua's mates. You see how you lot stay quiet, then you want to, bye. You have to go. And everyone I ban goes to another YouTube account and comes back and watches. So whatever. And the person that I cussed off was Killer P, Patrick Nathaniel Knight, because he kept on, because he is, an overt narcissist, he kept on trying to gaslight his audience. So I went onto his Instagram live, which he didn't expect, and I told all of his audience to go and do a Claire's Law on him. Now, I know all the audience can't do that because not everyone can get access to Claire's Law, but he was shocked. And I told him, you see, you're there chatting me. One thing him and Afua have in common, she went to prison for narcotics and he used to sell narcotics to the same community, the same Brixton community, the same South London community. You see, the day you can get someone who can honestly say that I sold them narcotics, then and only then I'll be on the same level. Only then. And until that point, we're not on the same level.
Exist of Afua Rose's misconduct. Why does she tell people they will find nothing online when they investigate her past? It is because she is cunningly aware that her entire work and personal history has been completely wiped from the internet, and often finds excuses for the frail descriptions of her work history. For example, on LinkedIn, where none of her roles reflect the job of a psychotherapist. Why does Afua Rose have security who work for free or at a reduced cost when men statistically and historically don't care about women's rights? Is it possible these men support her with an ulterior agenda, which is the cultivation of evil for the consumption of demonic forces? Why did Afua Rose have security for herself at the His Time Is Up march in 2022, but no official security for the vulnerable female demonstrators of all ages that she invited to protest?
How do you do that? How do you encourage women, first and foremost, to come on your platform, to show their faces, and to accuse people of serious crimes, whether they did it or not? Those women do deserve and require an element of protection that Afua Rose not only cannot provide, but she is grossly negligent when it comes to her followers. She doesn't care if someone comes on her platform, says what they have to say, and when they go out down the road, someone bucks them down, you know. She's not thinking that far ahead. But even worse, when I went to her march, she only had security for herself. So how do you take a group of women that you're begging, please come, everything she's doing, protesting, I'm arrested, come to the police station, this and that, you know, she was always asking me to do stuff. But in this specific case, it's in Brixton. As far as I know, the majority of people that have been accused of being, you know, SA assaulter or offender, they are also from Brixton. So how do you take the same women who have told you these stories, most of them have come on the platform and told you these stories, how do you explain that you're organizing a march, which is your legal right. Like, it's a legally organized march. It's not like a, rebellious thing. And how do you go to sleep at night knowing that anything could have happened, not only to the women, but to her own daughter? There were several times where they're like, where's Miracle? Where's Miracle? They didn't even know where the daughter was. So her security wasn't even for her and her daughter, a young teenager, as far as I know, young girl, young, adolescent or teenager. Okay. So to me, this is more about the hype, the impressions of we're doing this, rather than the true care. And this is something that's consistent with Afua. She does not provide care to the people who come on her platform. Her followers also are liars. Yeah, I gotta get my TikTok. Her followers are liars. And I'm going to do a separate video about the followers. I am. Her followers are liars because recently I saw a lady post on my page that Afua makes women safe. And I thought, how? She's not providing information about men and women, which is important, just to understand men and women. She isn't actually making anyone safe. I'm going to find it. She allows people, this is it. Afua has helped me, and Afua helps to keep all women safe. Which women? The ones who were under the cult. Are those the women that she's keeping safe? What? When are they safe? When they're watching her videos. Because how does she help to keep women safe in the society when they're going down to, when they're going to work, when they're driving, when they're on the train? I didn't understand that. And I said to her, you're too lie. Why is a damn lie? One of the things about a real liar, which is like Afua, they will lie to prove a point. That's a high level of delusion for a follower to come and say, how did Afua make me safe? She invited me onto her platform to say I had my documentaries coming out. And when she realized that I wasn't going to be one of her minions, she then sent her same audience to attack me. So how did she make me safe? How did she make my daughter safe? She's never met my daughter. She's never spoken to my daughter. She doesn't know anything about my daughter, but she sat down. Now I'm telling you this because my friend told me. I don't watch her content. My friend told me that they were disrespecting my daughter. I'm like, you F it. You get what I'm saying? You don't make people safe. So if your followers are so deluded that they want to lie to themselves, that's fine. But do not try to come and lie to me about something I've observed close up front and from a distance. Stop lying to yourselves. Stop lying to yourselves. People who have gone to her for help have literally been obliterated on her platform. So I don't know what you have to do, what kind of butt kissing that you have to do, to stay in her good books. But if you want to be in her good books, that means either you are looking for something like Killer P, he's looking for backative. He's looking for people to back him. And that's the reason why he's up under Afua Rose. He doesn't believe in what she's doing. Or women who don't have a strong sense of self and the ability to be moral and healing. Just because you're a victim of something doesn't mean that you now lose all of your morals. No, I'm sorry. And I know they say two wrongs don't make a right. I thought to myself today, because someone was saying, one of her followers, how dare you tell women what to do in response to their assaults? And I thought, can someone do anything that they want to do because they've been assaulted? Like, I sat and I thought, if you've been assaulted, any kind of assault, this could be physical assault, man on man, anything, right? Do you then have the right to do anything you want to do? So if you've been assaulted by someone, does that give you the right to go and burn down their house with their family in it? No, it doesn't. So this whole immoral, irrational thing only happens when people aren't trying to be objective, aren't trying to practice mental health. Yes, you have the right to speak out. No, you don't have the right. No, you don't literally have the right, to go to a trauma pimp. Like, you've got the freedom to do it, but you don't have the right to go to people who attack children going back to the boy that she mentioned and said, oh, this boy, he assassinated this girl and not never gossa. You don't have the right. So if you use your freedom to align with demonic forces, and that's what it is. And I'm not religious, yeah, but I'm spiritual. And I'm very well studied of all the religions. This is an embodiment of a negative force. This is like a Pied Piper of sorts. And the song is, tell me your trauma. You get what I'm saying? And anyone who isn't firm enough to know that, hey, if I want to tell my story, let me stand on my own 2 feet and tell my story in a way that later on, because people have gone onto her platform, shared their trauma, unlike me, and still have been attacked after. So they can move and go with them big lie.
Does she not deem the safety and lives of her supporters, who are mainly SA and DV survivors, important? She put all of her supporters at risk during the last march, and sadly, this included the safety of her own child, who is a minor, and was left unaccompanied throughout most of the march. She had received over £3,000 in public support, which includes a donation I made myself, and yet she refused to use this money to hire professional security for all present at the march. Ask yourself why. Why did Afua ask Killer P, Patrick Nathaniel Knight, the Pussycat, a convict of domestic violence, to volunteer as security for her women's rights march when he is a documented threat to all women? Why does she continue to represent him, even though I made him confess online to his DV conviction when I ferociously instructed his audience to run a Claire's Law report on him to establish the truth about his violent ways? What does Afua's behavior mean, and what is her true role in society? What seeds is she planting, and who is reaping the fruit it bears? If Afua is a psychotherapist, as she states, rather than the psychopath she acts like, she will have in-depth knowledge about the subconscious mind and the differences between male and female psychology. She has the academic know-how and ability to manipulate the unsuspecting minds of women in a way they may not realize. Twisting words like a snake with a split tongue or a multi-headed beast. If indeed psychotherapy is her academic background, instead of a liberator of women, what we have is a heartless trauma pimp, an exploiter and shapeshifter who literally monetizes the trauma of women who, according to various reputable sources, are the subconscious energy of this planet, and consequently, without full knowledge of self, very easy to manipulate, patriarchize, and control. What happens when a female abandons or never had access to her higher characteristics of womanhood? What happens when a female has no conscience, no sisterhood, and no compassion for those she sees herself as better than, in clear denial of her own molestation experience, which implies a woman should be ashamed of their assault experience? What happens
when a woman doesn't develop her morality? What happens? What happens when anyone doesn't develop their morality? What happens when a woman who has been groomed as a child creates a platform to speak about the experiences of other women and doesn't start it with her own experience? What does that even mean? Because personally, for me, anything that I come online and speak about, I've already healed from it. I actually don't do that whole game of I'm healing and talking. Like, I don't do that very well. When I'm healed, like usually way after I've healed, I'll be like, yeah, I can actually use this to assist people. I can use this, especially in my line of work, working with a lot of traumatized women. I found that my stories, my various stories, have been of great help to other people of all races. What does it mean when you can't lead with your own healing journey, your own strength, and you are tapping into the traumas of others when you haven't resolved your own trauma? What are some of the factors that show that Afua Rose hasn't healed from her own trauma? Recently, past few months, I was seeing a page called Claire Kennedy that I've mentioned a few times. she has made videos, or she's done videos where she's detailing how evil her child's father was, of which there's 2 to 3. The first one isn't confirmed. I don't know who it is. And I thought that's so strange. Like, you've been running this platform for years, yeah. And now that your platform has a small following, like 6,000 people, how come you're now using the platform that is to speak about women's rights in regards to SA and DV specifically? Now you're rubbing out your children's father. Now, I'm not saying that she didn't have bad experiences with the child's father. And I'm also not saying that this isn't something that she should speak about. But this is what happens when you haven't healed. You pretend to be creating a platform to assist other people, right? But what's really going on is you are creating a platform to puke, when you're ready, all of your ish out about who did you what. That's what happens. If you cannot approach any healing path, because even the fight for justice is a healing path. It comes from a desire to create some balance, not awareness for awareness sake, awareness for healing, awareness for evolution, so society can improve. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, how can you, all right, I'll give you an example. I was speaking to Afua Rose one day. She said to me, oh, well, as much as I've been helping other women, I'm so glad I've never had that experience. And I thought, that's a really inappropriate thing to say to a woman who has actually experienced assault. Like, you sound like a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath. You sound like you don't have the ability to even filter your own thoughts before they come out of their mouth. But most importantly, she was lying. She was lying because she already told me that a family friend was dealing with her inappropriately when she was a child. And I realized that's what's happening with your psyche. Your psyche is fractured. The left side of your head, because you've said it so much, you probably believe it, actually believes that you've never experienced any kind of SA. Or let's say the right side, yeah. But the left side is saying, but didn't you just tell Linnea about that man that was a family friend that used to come and squeeze up your bits? I'm thinking, I don't trust people like that, you know? You can't tell me, oh, this thing's never happened to me, when yesterday you just told me what happened to you. So I said to her, that's highly inappropriate, you know? And that is a symptom of someone who hasn't dealt with their own stuff and is now actually trying to help other people. Get a life. Yes, Manalai Kara says Hot Topics radio show. Hi, Hot Topics. Thank you for addressing this issue in the Black company. Hashtag Afua Rose. I mean, I don't know. I don't think everyone's watching is Black. I think we always assume that when it's someone's Black, that everyone else is. I don't think so. But that issue that she has, that racial dynamic, I understand it. But I do see it as highly uneducated and ignorant of patriarchy. And if one truly understands patriarchy, there are other issues. There are serious hate crimes that happen to people in Asia because of maybe choices they have for partners. We know this living in England. We've all seen it in the news growing up, stuff like that. Woman is woman, and violence against women or abuse against women is the same. It's the same. And that's also the reason why she doesn't want to register the charity, because she doesn't want to be accountable to Babylon. And to me, these are all some fake work excuses for being mediocre. Your impression of Afua. You know what? Everyone I speak to, they do their impressions. I'm like, wow, you really sound like her. And she has a very distinct way of doing things. Calibre, isn't this a photo of MC Det? So someone mentioned this same MC Det. I'm going to be honest. I don't know who MC Det is. Is Afua Rose MC Det? I don't know who that is. My apologies. So let's continue.
When women develop comradeship with a female who has stated publicly that she cannot have female friends, a woman who fails to rise into womanhood and raise her children as is the natural order of things, a woman who behaves like an unevolved male.
I'm sorry, I have to come back. But I'm reviewing it, so not I'm sorry. I understand. I grew up with brothers. I grew up with a lot of men on my road. I had a lot of male friends. And I always had 2 or 3, 2 at a time, those are my real girls. Do you get what I'm saying? So part of me kind of understands when women say that, because you do have different relationships with men. But I think once you really evolve into womanhood, you see the true value. Like, you have to have some female friends. If you don't, you're probably not open emotionally with yourself, and so you can't connect deeply with another. You have to have the discernment that even if you don't trust everyone, you have to be able to discern and trust a couple of people that you have worked out are trustworthy. So how do you, as a woman who's saying she's passionate about women's rights, then say you don't have female friends? So the question is, why are you passionate about women's rights then? Is it because of you? Is your only way to have empathy for women yourself and maybe your female descendants? Do you understand what I mean? It makes no sense. To me, that's a big red flag. You can't, and to me, that's also part of the reason why Afua found it so easy to attack me, because in her mind, she can't have female friends. So that means the women around her, they're all serving a purpose. It's not based on friendship. And the minute she realized that I wasn't going to serve her purpose, I could be attacked like one of these men that have done these heinous crimes. You get what I'm saying? I could be attacked. For me, I have had friends where our journeys have come to an end, and I still honor what I shared with them. So I don't need to come and make videos about my friends. I haven't got one video on my platform about no close friend, not even one. Any friend that I've had a relationship with where it's come to an end, because even if it's just like a relationship with a partner, right? Just because it's come to an end, does that mean you're not going to honor what you actually shared with the person? I'm saying just go for any predator, not just the black ones. Plus the whole way she does her thing is so dangerous. Like she's got a witness protection program. That's what I'm saying for these ladies. I love Politics Watch. I don't know if you know of that channel. It's a Jamaican whistleblower. I've done one documentary on him, and he is a big part of my inspiration, literally for why I even started doing my videos. I love Politics Watch. And what he did, at least in a bid to protect himself, because he comes out with very, it's quite dangerous, some of the topics he speaks on. And he has been pursued by politicians, artists, everyone's trying to take him out. So he did something before he even came out where he completely hid his identity. His voice is disguised. He never shows his face. And he set this up at such a high level that later on, when he started to get very successful and people started to attack him and try and hack his accounts, even if you hacked like his YouTube, you wouldn't be able to know who he was, right? You wouldn't be able to find the actual real man. I feel this is big 2020s. Yes, there should be some type of consideration about the protection of the women who are coming out and telling such personal stories, and how they can be protected from backlash when they're walking down the road. But the reason why I know that she doesn't care about that is because myself, she would love to know that one of her followers saw me on the road and attacked me. She would love that. She doesn't really have that level of empathy for her own supporters. She doesn't care if a man said the man tomped them down next week. You understand? Because if she did, even if she started the way she started, she would start to think about how can we change things. And I would always say to her, look, Afua, when your women come on your platform and tell those stories, what happens next? You know, do they go into counseling? Do they go and get any therapy? Do they get any kind of PTSD support? Do they get any kind of wellness, mental health facilitation? And the big answer is no. All she wanted to do was to set up a helpline for someone to chat even more. And for me, coming from a background of problem solving in wellness, I don't understand. And that's why I'm calling her a trauma pimp, because You want someone in trauma to come to you. You want them to come and chat. They come and chat for 4 hours and you monetize that content. You tell people to send you money, cash app, all these different things. And then you don't even register your thing with a charity so you can even raise funds. So if you don't care about raising funds, yeah, for these women, what are you doing? You don't care about their healing. You don't care about their wellness. You don't care. They might come and a month later they're thinking, what the hell did I do? And they go into another type of trauma. You don't give a damn. Do you get what I'm saying? You don't care. So you're a pimp. You're a pimp. You're like, hey, my girl, go down the road, sell out your thing, bring me back the money, because she's the one who's benefiting. She could definitely have transformed her platform so there's a way of it constantly raising money and it's going into counseling or whatever type of therapies are deemed appropriate for trauma. Do you see what I mean? But she's not business, but she's supposed to be a psychotherapist. Yeah, right. She's just using women's pains for clout. But yeah, if I do a video, anything I do, you're just trying to get clout. Why would I try and get clout talking? I'm a singer. Do you get what I'm saying? To me, even I'm like, you guys are so dunce. I know I can sing and captivate people more than just talking. I actually know that for a fact. It's just so weird. She has no results, no facts. This is by Caliber. All she has done is ruin people's lives and now she needs to pay for it. Dark circles. Who wants their great ordeal online rather go to a police station like Afua can help you, but yet her followers, let's call them the goats, the cult goats, because they're deeply conditioned, because they actually believe that they're experiencing something that they're not, because they are saying, Afua keeps me safe. I'm like, how the heck does Afua keep you safe? Are you mad? One thing you know, I'm not gonna say that part there. I'm not gonna say that part there.
Why does Afua Rose attack women with plastic surgery, sex workers, and women who have had their children taken away from them, while threatening to attack them physically? Is her concern only for people who share the same belief system she does? And if so, is she truly a supporter of women? Why does Afua Rose publicly berate and abuse women who clearly have mental health issues when she herself is a psychotherapist? Does that behavior fall within the ethical code of a therapist? Question: if psychotherapy is so impactful on one's healing and behavior, why aren't the benefits of this evident in Afua's behavior? Why is a 53-year-old at the time black female, a mother and grandmother, who clearly has the ability to earn and provide for her own child, spending months pretending to be someone else just so she can vengefully accost her own child's father on film? So
let me tell you something. I believe in role models. I think women of all ages can help women who are coming up, and the same for men. I have learned from some amazing women. I've been so blessed. I've been very blessed to have access to many different women in different stages of my life to improve my mind, to improve my productivity, you know. Excuse me. And one of the things that I've noticed is that I have a low tolerance. So I've been taught by many women, like, you need to kind of be more tolerant, be more patient, right? So because I have a low tolerance, when I was mothering my child when she was younger, I wouldn't really spend a long time asking for anything from anyone. If I find that I'm not going to get it, I'm going to move on and try and create it. For that reason, I spent many years as a single parent, essentially, not gaining any type of family support. My family, for the most part, weren't in the UK, and my child's father was contributing financially, but he wasn't engaged with her development. And I took that as a sign not to lean on him. I spoke to Afua and she told me that with the last child, she used to do things to entrap the man into wanting to help with the child. Now, I know some women might think, yeah, that's the woman's charm and that's smart. But when she explained it to me, I just felt so disappointed, because I thought, is that what I should have done? But I know me can do certain things, right? So what she would do is that she would go to her father's child's house with some sexy lingerie on and like a leather jacket and, you know, stilettos or boots or whatever, after having asked him for help. And she would be at the door and burst open the jacket, and then they would, you know, be intimate, and then that would make him babysit the child. And when she told me this, I was really disappointed, because I thought, so was that the alternative? Was that what I could have done? Or is that what I'm supposed to advise younger women to do? Like, you see, if your child's father isn't really around, like physically, maybe they're at work or whatever the case may be, and you're not together, what you should do is basically go and kind of like give him some good stuff and manipulate him. And to me, I definitely don't agree with that, because that is the reason why she ended up having to run the man down the road. Because obviously your front can only work for so long. Do you understand? And if that was a tried and tested and true method to get those men who are more distant from their children to actually get on board, then she would never have got to the stage where she had to pretend to be another woman. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm not going to be patriarchal and say, well, your front must not be good. I just think that just isn't going to work long term. And hearing that from an elder to me, it was confusing. I was like, how do you help a woman to gain independence and self-reliance and to believe in herself and to slay on her own? How do you get her to do that with a story like that? Oh, you know what you do? Just go and sleep with the dude, give him some front, and that's when I realized that this woman, she's layered, like everyone's layered, but some of the layers are disgusting. And I can't learn anything from that. And I learn from everyone. I could watch a cartoon and learn something. You understand what I'm saying? Let's have a look. Sully says, Afua is too dunce to be a Freemason. I agree with that. I actually agree. In this documentary, I'm sharing what came to me, but I actually don't think she's a Freemason either. I think she's a puppet. Afua needs to go find them 92 Asian predators in Rochdale that have been swept under the carpet. She doesn't care. And it's weird because she doesn't care about other races, but we can clearly see she doesn't care about her own people either, her own race. Sully. Meanwhile, she ignores Lorraine Brown's numerous allegations. And you know what's funny? I saw this whole thing with the allegations against Lorraine Brown, one of her top crab in a barrel goats from the cult. Yeah, from the Afua cult. And I don't know what to think. Obviously, I can't make any judgment, but what I do know is that one of the reasons why I realized that Killer P was not a true supporter of Lorraine Brown or Afua is that he was complaining and saying a lot of the women that she's bringing onto her platform, he's known those women from he was a child. And he said that he was best friends with Lorraine's son and that she was a fiend. Now, I didn't understand one side of it. I was thinking, so are you saying that a fiend can't be assaulted? Because it actually is probably even more likely that a fiend would be assaulted. But he basically really trashed her, what do you call it? Not integrity, her reputation, her character to me. And so after that, when all the allegations came in about Lorraine, I said, why? We never did hear nothing too good in the first place. So, you know, imagine, oh, wait, messages are going. Imagine following Afua and supporting her all this time to find out she's a bully and clout chasing. But I think most people know she's a bully, but they're cool with it because it's like, as I said in one of the comments on my YouTube, it said, yes, she does try and attack predators and abusers, but sometimes she gets it wrong and she becomes the abuser herself. And that was one of her followers. So I think they're like, you know, that kind of thing, like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It's like it kind of comes with the package. And if you don't have any morality, then that would be okay for you. This group should have no complaints with Tommy Robinson or the KKK. It doesn't sound like it's for women. It sounds like a hate group with friends. It is a hate group. And I'm sure that I feel like some of the women, they feel inspired, like, wow, because a lot of women are carrying around assault stories, like a lot more than it appears, right? So I do feel there's that comradeship, that sister comradeship, which is natural. But once you sit with how she actually conducts herself, if you don't find a problem with it, then something wrong with you too. I'm in a business. Kerry Mussington, it was very uncomfortable listening to her using her children as a shield whilst causing them harm. The children should have been left out of such a dangerous platform. How did she do that? How did she use them as a shield? I do feel like she speaks about her youngest child a bit too much. Considering what she's doing, she should be a bit more protective. I also feel I never really showed my daughter online until she was publishing her book. I wasn't that parent that was always posting my child online. I'm kind of funny like that. But when I saw that she didn't have any steadfast security for her own daughter at the march, that's when I realized, you, my lady, use a loose woman. I don't care what kind of qualification you say you have. I don't care about all these things that no one can find evidence of that you've said that you've done, apart from being convicted. To me, if you're a mother and you have this type of women's rights movement, you can't have a march where your daughter attends and she's not by your side all the time or under fixed security. It's careless. Kind of careless behavior, that. So all baby mothers she put on some lady marmalade show just so the so all baby mothers should put on some lady marmalade show just so the baby father babysits, and they're not together. This is the other thing. I was like, yo, because I thought maybe I got it wrong, but I was like, no, I'm not doing that. We're not even together. Like, it sounds like a way to end up with an STD. Lately, he has indirectly been disapproved of her conduct. Disapproving. Who's he? Melanin, sorry. Who's the he? Imagine following Afua. There's one that I missed. Who goes to a podcast channel rather than the authorities? But this is the thing. As I said, some of these assaults, again, they're from a very long time ago. Some people are coming up about things that happened 20 years ago. So if right now the conviction rate for SA is so low and it could have happened to you yesterday, I understand why women are seeking. Hold on, I'm having a look for the stats. I understand why women are seeking some type of outlet, but this isn't the one. Let's have a look at this. The distressing truth, this is on victimscommissioner.org.uk. The distressing truth is that if you are raped in Britain today, your chances of seeing justice are slim. And that is why I'm not being like blanket with what I'm saying, because ultimately the whole process has been more traumatic than the actual rape. I have zero belief in the justice system. This is the feeling of a lot of women, because only 5% of rapes were given an outcome of conviction. 5%. You hear that? Oh, Killer P, make him go. He's in my worth. Don't let me cuss bad. You see that little demon? That man is more of a demon than Afua. He is, man. He's a born narcissist. You should watch my video. He's a born narcissist. He is crazy. So it's funny he's indirectly disapproving, because he didn't indirectly disapprove to me. He had so much to say. He was backing so many men in Brixton. And it was so weird because I just met him at the march. That's why I don't like groups of people. I like having one-on-one connections. I'm a very much person that I like to have heart to heart. Let's have a deep conversation. Don't talk to me about the weather for too long. And that's how I get to hear people's inner psychosis. Do you get what I'm saying? One thing that annoys me about her is when she takes it upon herself to do all of this and then say she's got no time to do this and that, and how busy she is, she hasn't got time to check. Yeah, that's a big excuse. You better make time to check, because now your backside's been arrested. They're not seeking anything that starts circles. If she's that busy and booked, why is she doing all of this? I'm telling you, this is her retirement legacy. I said it before, previous video. She wants to have, her ego requires something to happen for her more than what she's already experienced. That's not just her ego. I looked at her chart. She should be working with women and prisoners. She should be working with prisoners. She should be working with people who are prisoners. You know, that is part of her energy. Part of her energy is to have empathy for women's rights. That's part of her energy. But what it is, she's corrupted. It's almost like this could have been okay. You get what I'm saying? If she wasn't so corrupt, but she's corrupt. So it's now not okay. Her time has come. End of. End of. I'm a man. What the hell? I can't even read that. Didn't she do a live after being arrested saying there was no charges? She's a damn liar. That may I say. Oh, by the way, like the video. My friend said to me, you're talking for so long. You're not even telling people to like the video. You're dropping so many bombs. She said a lot of things I say. She's like, whoa, that's so true. Like up the video. I completely forgot. Kerry, I hope she heals. I don't like to see suffering regardless. And all she's doing is harming herself. She needs to be there for her children. So I hope she gets therapy to cause. I doubt it. I would like to think, to have the liberty, I would say, to think, I hope she heals. I need you guys to like up the video for real, you know. I meant that. I would love for her to have the ability to heal. But this is the analogy for Afua. When I was growing up, there were some trees that they just weren't going to grow straight. Do you understand? Some plants, some crops, you could see either they had a fungus. The farmer would say, oh, it's blighted. She and Killer P is blighted. This is something where the tree just a gossa. And if she's a psychotherapist and as a human being, she has access to therapy. She has the knowledge to go and get help, but she's wrong and strong. And her ego is eclipsing the true mission that is, there is work to be done. Don't get me wrong, but she is toxic. And so bringing that toxic, unhealed, bad mind, abusive self into a women's rights movement, your backside's going to get locked up. Because I can predict, let me mark it today, 25th of March. I can predict, this is a year since I've been attacked by Afua. And as the year come round, I see a video of that girl, that woman being arrested. I can predict this is not the last time. We will see more of this, and not too far from now either. So was she charged? So apparently she was charged, and she's actually going to be going to court for whatever she was arrested for, which is the malicious communications. So that, I mean, why would someone lie like that? Oh, she wicked, sir. Why not just be honest? Yeah, I was, you know, I'm being done for something I said on the platform. The same thing happened when she got arrested for that video running down her child's father. You waste man. Yeah. You waste man. You know, after she set him up. She didn't come and tell her audience. She rang me and told me. And I realized, why are you doing that? I thought you were a vigilante. You know, I thought you were about this life. But clearly not. Anyway, let's go back.
Only with the intent to shame him publicly and monetize her own inability to accept the situation she finds herself in as a single mother. Why can teenage mothers conduct themselves with more integrity when their children are fathered by males who decide to be absent from the children's lives? If psychotherapy is such an impactful healing tool, why is Afua back to fronting? Back to fronting is when someone starts life off with what seems to be the right foot, but ends up regressing to levels of experiences usually associated with youth. Afua Rose personally told me she had her children with a stable and consistent partner, Viv Amun, and if I'm not mistaken, a first child with another man. She was able to have stability with her husband and children, a home, a career that according to her, but unverifiable due to her history being wiped off the internet, took them from supporting and allegedly exploiting small businesses to working with Trident, the UK's black
stick a pin. Patriarchy makes women want to define their value and the worth of their life through their connections with men. Afua Rose told me not only, so I'm just putting in the charger, not only that she was married to Viv Amun, Afua told me that she got divorced from Viv Amun. But yeah, when I put this video out, that's a woman lie. When I put this video out, the amount of people that came in the comments and said, that's a lie. Like, she's never been married to that man. And I thought, well, I'm not the one lying. She's the one who's lied to me. Why do you need to validate the experience you had with this man, or you're trying to legitimize it? Why do you see it as illegitimate? Because of patriarchy. Why would you tell me that you married him? Because I never asked her. And why would you tell me that the divorce was so hard when you were never indeed married? That's a pathological liar, because no one asked her anything about marriage in the first place.
On Black Knife Crime Prevention Program, it is clear she worked with her former husband, and part of her rage is due to her inability to heal from a feeling of being used and being the ultimate sacrifice for him and his success. Upon divorcing Viv Amun, instead of healing and rising into victory, she had a child with a man who was unable to provide in the way her ex-husband did. She was incarcerated for a crime that a woman of her age and education had no business being involved in. Yet, under the guise of black economic liberation and anti-white supremacy, that same overused excuse of many alleged Pan-Africans, she attempts to wear this discretion as a badge of honor to prevent others from analyzing her clear misconduct and lack of good character. How was Afua Rose able to 1. fall from a corporate position to gaining a conviction as an international narcotics trafficker, 2. have a relationship and subsequent child with an ex-convict like herself, 3. resort to disgracefully filming and revealing the identity of the father of her youngest child with the intent of showcasing the video online for the whole world to see. 4. Failed to see that while she was seeking to degrade and demean her child's father, she was degrading not only herself, not only her child who she claimed to be vindicating, but black women in general. She proved that regardless of her alleged level of education, she was only too happy to be a stereotype for all of society to see. 5. How beneficial can her alleged psychotherapy qualifications and experiences be when it is clear on several counts that she is unable to use this experience to do the most important thing women need to do right now on this planet, to heal herself? 6. Why does Afua Rose lie to create content, slander both men and women with no care for how this may impact them and their families? 7. Was she always this morally insipid, or is this the result of the traumas and disappointments in love that she herself hasn't resolved? 8. Is her unresolved anger towards her ex-husband for what she alleges was consistent infidelity the true wound that she is disguising with her indignation? 9. Is Afua in competition with her ex-husband, who she clearly did her best to support in the spirit of black love and Pan-Africanism? Narratives that are used to exploit women to be martyrs for men while never gaining the love and commitment she desired from him? 10. Is Afua Speaks and the His Time Is Up cyber movement simply a disguise for the old adage, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned? Or can there be something more sinister at play? Something unmentionable to most, a recruitment from the evil forces that permeate this planet in an ongoing battle with the forces of goodness. One of the allegations that has repeatedly surfaced throughout my research for this video is the idea that Afua Rose is a plant within the black community, an agent of chaos whose role is to strategically lower the vibration of women and, by default, the entire black population. I mention the black population because her work is exclusive to black men and women, not all men and all women of all races. 11. Is Afua building bridges and creating safe spaces for women with her expertise? Absolutely not. Clearly, even bringing Patrick Nathaniel Knight, Killer P the Pussycat, into her fold demonstrates this. Dangerous is the woman whose tongue doesn't belong to her. It can undress and reveal her in a way no man can. Afua Rose spoke at length to me about Mega Man, a former...
Okay, I have to stick a pin here because I mentioned it in my previous video, but I have to mention it here. I'm not assuming that everyone's going and watching all the videos. So Mega Man is the man that supported Afua with His Time Is Up. He actually paid for her to have security at her first march. I will go on in the documentary to detail some of the things that she shared with me about Mega Man. Mega Man is an artist, a former artist. He was part of a group called the So Solid Crew, who were very big in the UK and still have members that are, you know, going on in their individual careers, like Ashley Walters, for example, who is Deshane in Top Boy, okay? So this is a group that they have a serious track record. And Mega Man is from that group. Sorry, I want to laugh because after this video was done, it came out through a picture that was posted online by an actor with himself and Mega Man in full Freemasonry regalia and attire, and they were outside of a Freemason lodge. Now, I personally don't think that Afua actually has the character that would allow her access to an organization like the Freemasons, because there's a few things, some things I don't even feel comfortable saying here, to be fair, but Freemasons aren't really out to look out for their race. It's like they're out to look out for their own. Do you get what I'm saying? But it was funny that these allegations did come up in this documentary. They are not from me. This is part of my research, me asking people questions, people messaging me. Do you get what I'm saying? And people are quite vocal behind the scenes. People feel more comfortable coming to someone who's going to speak and just give a balanced argument. But after this video came out, then Mega Man and the actor proudly revealed that they are Freemasons. And I find that very interesting, and it's not to be overlooked, even for the point that they provided, essentially, Mega Man provided the security. And I know that Afua intentionally, she did want non-black security. She wanted white security guards because she felt that that would make the black men who may try to intervene in the march, they would feel more wary about intervening if the guards were white as opposed to if they were black. What that shows to me is that she is using her psychology against people of color in a very cunning way. And that doesn't really align with her I'm only here for black people type thing. Do you get what I'm saying? It's actually quite calculated to know that because of the hierarchy of race in the UK, the apparent hierarchy of race, that if she was to bring non-black security guards and white guards specifically, not Asian guards, but white guards, that would intimidate the black men who may try to intervene or interfere with the march. It's like she's saying that she's about race, but she's using another race to fight her own race. That's very deviant.
I'm a member of the So Solid crew, an iconic British music group from the late 90s. From this crew came a number of prominent entertainers, including Ashley Walters, an actor who is most recently known for playing the character of Duchesne in Top Boy. Unfortunately, in the early days of So Solid, one of the most prominent group members, Mega Man, who was truly loved across the UK, was put on trial for being complicit in unaliving someone, and upon his release, he has taken steps to improve his own community. Part of this solidarity manifested in him showing support to Afua Rose during the initial growth of her whistleblowing. Mega Man provided security for the first His Time Is Up march held in Brixton in 2021, and he has continued to offer support to her platform. However, Afua Rose has no loyalty to anyone. In 2022, when she was planning the second His Time Is Up march, she complained directly to me that Mega Man hadn't offered security as was done the year prior. I told her to simply ask him for help because I'm a practical, solution-focused woman and I don't care for complaining or gossip. I was shocked when after the march, upon not receiving further support from Mega Man, Afua spoke about knowing that Mega Man was a police informant and went on to state that this is the reason why he was released from prison way in advance of the sentence time he was given. Please note, this is categorically untrue, and a simple internet search will reveal that Mega Man, real name Dwayne Vincent, attended a first trial during which the jury could not form a verdict and was released from prison after a year because the jury found him not guilty after a retrial. This, in addition to other disgusting statements from her, made it crystal clear to me just how fickle, vindictive, and evil Afua Rose is. She suffers from a clear short-term memory, and even worse, she is the perfect example of an ingrate. She suffers from lack of gratitude and conscientiousness that I've observed in a female for a very long time. As soon as she stopped receiving what she wanted from Mega Man, a man who did not have to support her in any way, she was only too willing to throw him under the bus. The same way she threw her youngest daughter's father under the bus when she spent weeks and months sweet-talking him by pretending to be a woman he met at a party. This is the same way she will turn on anyone who doesn't do as she desires, including...
I know I'm about to say, including me. I know I'm about to say that. Not only did she turn on me, but something just came to my mind that I want to share. So I called Killer P an agent because he is, right? I'm gonna take back my chat. And Afua met me as a survivor of assault who hadn't come to her for anything and was dealing with things in her stride, as every woman should feel comfortable doing. But yet, when she started to defend Killer P, to show how vile she is as a woman, and I'm going to share this in another video because I have decided to make each video topic focused. So this is about this, right? She commented under one of my pictures and said, oh, you're just upset because Killer P didn't want to F you. And I was like, wow, Afua Rose, she has no soul.
Unfortunately for her, myself. Is it possible, as the allegations infer, that Afua Rose isn't just a deeply wounded woman?
I'm so sorry, I had to cough. It's not just that she doesn't have a soul. She is not about women's rights. That is the kind of thing that a man would say to a woman. One, she has no evidence of that. She has no evidence of that at all. Two, she knows that I myself has experienced assault. So why is it appropriate for her to come and talk about my vagina on my page? Don't you see this is some dirty gal? This is someone who, through the gift of the gab, which is what I think she has, yeah. I don't like hearing her speak, but through the gift of the gab, she clearly has a gift for communication. She has hoodwinked people. And in the same way how when Mega Man didn't, provide the security, she started to say the worst things about him. That's exactly what later on happened to me. And I know has happened to many people in her midst. So she doesn't have any respect. She doesn't have any respect for women. She can't be a true women's rights ambassador. How does she get off? Where do you get off? You're trying to abuse my womanhood. You're trying to attack my sexuality. You're trying to accuse me of wanting to be sexual with someone who's some dirty road man out the road. Like, whoever it is, how dare you? That is the voice. Throughout my journey as a wellness practitioner, I have worked with a lot of women whose mothers or grandmothers said things like that to them when they came and told them that they had been assaulted. Oh, I bet you wanted it. The kind of things that you're not supposed to actually say. She doesn't have an ethical compass to know that just isn't something that you say full stop. No, when she feels like for whatever reason, she decides she's going to try attack me, then everything is allowed. That's barbaric. And on top of that, that is not a true woman. That's the reason why throughout this video, I keep calling her a female, because you've lost the right, Afua, because I know you're watching this because you can't help it. The same way how she can't help the comments, fake pages on YouTube and TikTok, like it's ridiculous. Okay? You lost the right. It doesn't matter how many children you brought onto this planet. You have lost your internal compass. Maybe you never had one. I don't know. I never knew you for more than like 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you just never had one, but you lost the right to be even called a woman, and you've denounced yourself through your own actions to that of a female because you are perverse. And that's something that I'm going to do a whole video about Afua and her followers. They say they're about women's rights, but they often say very perverse things to me. They are very much attracted to my sexuality, to my body. They say things to me that, to me, traditionally, that's what a guy would say. Even one of the first videos, I was showing my cleavage. I never knew that there was anything up of a woman showing her cleavage. I'm a big BBC woman. I'm a big woman. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not a teenager. Oh, yeah, look, man. So on one side, you're saying that you're against men preying on women, but you actually believe, one, that women dress for men because you probably dress for men. You also believe that women and the way how they're dressed could never be just to suit their own mood, their own vibe. No, if they dress in any way that is to show anything more than their neck and their arm, then they are doing it because they're looking men. Her audience and herself, they are perverts in their own right. I've experienced that. The comments that they share under my content, I'm like, you guys are actually perverse. You're perverse. And why is it that women are preying what I'm wearing? I am heterosexual. What are you preying me for? You want me? You get what I'm saying? Like, what do I know? And I don't, the thing is, I am not homophobic. I'm not. But I am not exactly sure. I don't know if Afua is heterosexual. And if she isn't, that's not a slur against her either. But something about how she says things, how she does things, I don't know. Maybe she must have felt like she was personally interested in me, yeah. So it hurt her so much when I stepped back that it's like The same way how she's attacking her Miracle's dad or Vivimun, that's the same spirit you're coming to me with, like I was dicking you at some point. I just think it's totally inappropriate for her to even say, oh, you wanted him to F you. Who the BC are you talking to? And who are you chatting to? That is grape culture. The thing that you're saying that you're against, that is what you are a perpetrator of, Afua Rose. You're a flipping hypocrite. She's a hypocrite. And what's that saying? You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. You will never be able to fool all the people. I mark my words. Look out for her perverse nature. Look out for her perverse nature. Look out for her hypocritical behavior. And like what I said before in this documentary, she's an ingrate because she's an ingrate and she's a user because she only has courtesy, respect, and morals for people who she can use. Just like Mega Man. The minute it's like, oh, I can't use you anymore, she will say anything to anyone. That woman even spoke about her own daughter. One of her daughters, light skin. The way she spoke about her, I was like, yuck, yuck. Oh, you know them red skin girls. Oh, but yuck, you're disgusting. You're like one of them ladies from the 1970s, 1980s, and you haven't updated your database to even know what is appropriate from what is inappropriate. So I just wanted to say that because while I paused, I was like, oh yeah, you must mention that. And I have that on screenshot and I will be sharing it. Oh, you just wanted him to F you dirty bangarang. You pervert, Afua. You're a pervert. Yeah.
A woman who hasn't had the best loving experiences with the men she chooses? Is it possible that Afua Rose is a demon consciously working for negative forces in order to foster hate and evil in the hearts of people just so she can feed this energy to an even more demonic entity and organization? Based on her own behavior, it definitely is possible. If those who are observing the culture want to see what the truth is, simply pay attention. Whatever the truth is, there are too many red flags surrounding this trauma pimp for her not to be acknowledged as a female demonic force. Someone who summons hate, rage, fear and war in the hearts of women and men, knowing it will trickle throughout the lives of everyone they come into contact with. The barbaric way she uses a woman's vagina and sexuality, the same aspects that are targeted in SA and gender-based violence, in a bid to attack the same kind of women she pretends to be defending. Something doesn't add up, and we all need to do the maths for ourselves. It is our personal responsibility not to suspend our disbelief in the way one does when watching a play or reading a book or watching a film. Afua Rose is not only a trauma pimp, she is a demon, and her track record, the one that hasn't been wiped from the internet, evinces that. She has hurt and disturbed so many innocent women and men. The old school era is over. This is the 2020s, and our intellect is not to be surpassed by technology and algorithms. We need to think clearly, ask for the intelligence, not just sheer desire and emotion to guide our perceptions. When we create standards and zero tolerance for antagonists of women, therefore antagonists of nature, we won't accept the obvious infiltration of culture by abnormal influences whose sole purpose is to feast on the pain and suffering of others. I think for myself, and I want others to have the freedom to do the same. My thoughts are simply a drop in the ocean of consciousness, and yet I drop them all the same, as quality, not quantity, matters. I hope you take the time to consider and examine Afua Rose from all angles, especially the ones she works passionately to disguise. One day, This video and all videos that express legitimate disdain for the trauma pimp will be used as a reference to assess who she truly is, and for this reason, I am thankful I've had the opportunity to create it. Although my primary focus is my personal creativity, delving into this topic was not a distraction. It is a worthy pursuit for a woman who recognizes that her value lies not in the hands and eyes of others, a marriage, status, or anything external. Women, men, children, protect your minds in these serious times, as evil no longer lurks only at your door waiting to penetrate your homes. It comes directly to you through dangerous people who spread propaganda and lies through your phone. If you have any information to contribute regarding Afua Rose, please reach out.
And again, yes, thank you so much for watching that with me. If you do have any information regarding Afua Rose, please reach out. Your mic is so low compared to the audio of the videos. Oh, you need to turn the volume down on the video you are playing. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think I noticed that last time when I was trying to talk beside a video, my own mic was quite low. So I will bear that in mind. Thanks. I always love a good tech feedback, you know. Even like that video, I had never done a video like that. And oftentimes when I'm creating videos, it's like this is the first time I'm doing something like this. So I do appreciate that, because I feel the same about this streaming experience. Like I think I've done one stream before like this last year, which was actually to address Afua Rose. And just reiterating that story about what she said, that woman is a dirty gal. That's what I have to say. That's what I have to say. And I am very capable, yeah, of being very analytical, very articulate, and very straight to the point. And the straight to the point version is that woman is a dirty gal because her behavior is gutter, is for the gully. My personal experience of her, separate to whatever she's been doing online, separate to the other people and the people she's called out and the children that she's attacked and the people's children, the people's grandmother. She's got no boundaries and she's perverse. She's perverse in her thinking. And someone who is perverse in their thinking is not best seated for work around SA, you dirty gal. On top of that, one of the videos I'm going to show, because just on even though I'm not principal, just on principle alone, she shouldn't have had nothing to do with Killer P. That's why he is going to turn around and he's going to turn around and bite her. Because I went to her march, I had on a skirt, some fishnet tights, and a jumper. Now, I wasn't raised in England, so I have come to understand that in England, fishnet tights are associated with prostitution, like, you know, high boots, fishnet tights. However, I don't have that. That's not how I relate to fishnet tights. I am a womanly woman. I am also an artist. I'm very proud of every aspect of myself, my womanhood, my skin, my heritage. I'm a self-love ambassador. Anything we have, you for love it, right? So I love clothes that are sensual. I love clothes that are arty, and I've always loved fishnet tights. And I don't relate to fishnet tights through the eyes of someone who thinks it's like, you know, hooker wear or something like that. When I went to this march, this lady said to me, "Oh my God, are you wearing fishnet tights?" And I thought, that's so strange. I know I've come to support you guys, but I am not a victim. I have experienced assault before, and I am not a victim. Do you understand? That is not my center. That's not where I operate from. I went through an experience. Someone tried to victimize me in the same way how Afua has tried to victimize me. But I personally am not a victim. Do you understand what I'm saying? I am not a victim. So I found it strange, and I realized part of their narrative is very patriarchal, like, oh, if you've been assaulted, you should be wearing army clothes. You should be dressing like you're not a woman. Bun that whole I must dress like I'm you know, in the middle of both genders, like I'm nondescript. Oh, you should be wearing some hard boots like Afua. I am a soft woman. I'm soft. My mind is sharp. You get what I'm saying? Even at times, my communication can be very sharp, but I am soft and cuddly. I like fabrics. I like this. It's so soft, just totally up my street. I like fabrics. I like expression. And as an artist, and even being raised as a Rasta, I do not conform to other people's likes or desires. I actually teach people every day, at least 5 days a week. Yeah. Do not give people permission to steer you into who you should be, how you should be acting, how you should be dressing. Your number one job is to be yourself. Everyone needs to honor who they are. That's also why I'm not homophobic. I find it very hypocritical to tell people that they shouldn't be if that's who they are. I take comfort in people being who they are because I like honesty. I love honesty. I've got this thing where truth. The soul loves truth. What Afua did, what was very wrong, is that Killer P came out. He made one video. I forgot to show it on my narcissistic video, right? And he told his dirty audience that I came to the march and all my breasts were showing and I had on like a bra and all of this. And I actually, the picture that showed up, I don't know if you saw it in this documentary that I just played. I was in a white jumper with a skirt and boots and fishnet tights. And that dude sat down and said how I came and he didn't know where to look. My breasts were all over. And I thought, but Afua has a video on her platform of me singing Dirty Man. And on stage, I actually had a coat on anyway. But if my coat was open, you would have seen a jumper, a skirt, and a fishnet tights. And that dirty woman let Killer P say those inappropriate, grape culture things about me. And she still is in connection with him because she has no morals and she's not about women's rights. And you cannot say things like that about women and be part of a women's rights movement. It's not just calling out people online. There's other things. He was even saying, oh, she can't really have been assaulted because how come she's dressed like that? Yeah, bun you and bun Afua Rose with that kind of perverse thinking. So you want women to be assaulted and then to become another version of themselves, even down to how they dress, when it is a fact that women are not assaulted because of how they are dressed. And you, with your low-based male energy, you are actually, you're basically approving of the mindset that based on how a woman is dressed means that it's okay to assault them or not. You perverts. Killer P, he's a pervert. I actually went and got a picture. No lie, I went and got a picture of me in my outfit on that day. I put it on my page on Instagram and I asked everyone, can you guys let me know if you can see my breast? Because I don't know if something's wrong with my eyes, because I can actually just see a jumper. It said God Nah Sleep, big hoodie, you know. And I realized that's why the internet is dangerous, because he would have said that dirty gal Afua, I like that. I like that. That's it. That dirty gal Afua, I'm like, yeah, that feels right. That dirty gal Afua would have listened to that, knowing that he was lying and not said anything. And in that moment, she was supporting grape culture. You dirty patriarchal people, move and go. And then when I'm talking my truth about my experiences, you think you're going to come and tell me and send your little goats out to say, you shouldn't be saying this. All of you guys can't take me on. That's the next thing you don't know. Because your discernment, you don't have the intelligence. You don't have the intelligence to deal with someone like me. That's why the both of you, I've exposed both of them. They are both supporters of grape culture. The minute that Afua started to attack me, she was a supporter of grape culture because she knows the only reason why she even knows me is because of grape. You are demons, human demons in our midst. And I'm thankful. Serious. I'm like, yeah, I'm thankful. I have so many emails and messages coming in. I even have someone I'm calling tomorrow afternoon about you, Afua. Don't think that people are just sitting down and they're afraid to speak out about you. You are demonic. You even speak ill about your own daughter's light skin. And I saw someone say, maybe a red-skinned woman take her man. Everyone take Afua man. That's why she don't like having female friends. Everyone's taken her man at some point or the other. You should know yourself as women. Please, women. Please. Right? Please. Women nurture families. Women make... This is not a man's world. That is patriarchy. Sorry, James Brown, but it is. That's patriarchy. Do you understand what I mean? If you had more esteem in your own self as a woman, you would never dare say certain things out of your mouth about other women, about you're running a women's rights movement. You're a trauma pimp. And what she actually hated is that she couldn't monetize off of me. And so she tried to traumatize me and re-traumatize me and try to monetize off of that. Some demonic stuff. Demons. Cursing people online will get you killed. If she cared for her women, she would do things politely, correct that don't put others in danger. And remember, these people have not been sentenced by the law. And why are you using your platform where you're calling out grapists to chat about me? You demon. How dare you? And you thought you'd get away with it. You get what I'm saying? That's why your backside get arrested last week. And you're there lying to people, telling people, oh, nothing's come of it. Why are you so lie? And what it is about the lie, how will she be able to hide and conceal what is going to come off of it? How would she be able to do that? You're too lie and wicked. Too lie and wicked. And I won't say that to someone easily. Lie and wicked. And let me tell you something. When I was growing up, and I'm sure a lot of you heard this, if you're a liar, you're a thief. You're a thief as well, because you lie so much, you must be a thief. Point blank. How many convictions has Afua had since this group, or is this just about making the black men as monsters? I feel that, and I'm going to do a separate video about this, so I won't go too far into it. Afua was crushed by her partners, and that broke her in a certain way, specifically the guy that she claims was her husband, Viv Amun. She went through some crushing. She thought that if she was that perfect woman and she sacrificed herself and she supported her man and she repped Black Club, she thought that she would be validated and that would change how this man treated her, and it didn't. He was abusive. She herself came out and said he's a narcissist and really, really bad things that I don't even want to go into. Okay. Then she had another child. Then the man, she says the man used to abuse her, so Afua has been crushed and she hasn't healed. And this is the reason why that documentary, if you want to watch the whole thing uninterrupted, is on my channel. That's why it says hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned, because she interpreted the behavior that she experienced via her own Black love, her own choices for Black love. She interpreted it as scorn. The men that were cheating on her, do you get what I'm saying? The men that were knocking her about. Any woman can experience, it doesn't take a certain type of woman to experience anything. Once you're living on the planet with men, you can experience rape, you can experience physical abuse, you can experience gaslighting, you can experience cheating, you can experience financial abuse. But because she had herself like, well, I'm this Black proud woman and Pan-African, and she thought that she was exempt. And that's the reason why I know she doesn't understand patriarchy. You're not exempt, Afua. You're a woman living in a patriarchal world. You don't know yourself. You don't understand women, even on a biological level, much less psychotherapeutic level. You don't understand men. You don't understand that most of your experiences were inevitable. And that is your Achilles heel. That's the thorn jammed in your back. You're blaming yourself and you're blaming the men for what happened. And I would put it to you that it is what it is. Like, I don't think she could have made better choices. I don't think, oh, she chose wrong. I mean, with the last one where she wanted a bit of wrath, yeah, I think she chose wrong. If you have a child with someone and you two split up, you can't then go and tell everyone, oh, he's stupid, he can't read, I was really worried, she was hoping that Miracle didn't inherit his dumb genes. I'm thinking, you don't understand how you sound. You think you sound amazing, but you sound off. You sound off. That's your choice. And I think you made a worse choice later on in your life. And that reflects how little you knew and how little time you took to nurture and take care of yourself and to know yourself, because you were caught up in some male philosophy and it slapped you back. And now you're angry. And so you want to spew all over other people with your anger and even abuse other women like some perverse demon. Move from me with that. Move from me with that. Dark Circle says she hates black men. She absolutely does. She used to say, oh, well, I love my son. And then recently, a few months ago, I saw on the Claire Kennedy's page, who is great at sharing content, because I don't watch Afua Rose's content because gal too cute for that. Yeah, I don't watch her content. So by the way, if I say something, and I know she'll have stuff to say because her ego is fragile and she can't keep her mouth shut, she just can't help it. She's not like me where I can sit down for months and be like, is that what you're doing? She doesn't have that level of self-control and self-awareness. So it was Claire Kennedy's page that was, oh, is that like some short clips that Claire Kennedy was making? And in one of the clips, what did she say? She said a lot about her child's father, Viv Amun. She pretended that she told everyone that she was still actually active and she had a little F-boy in the house. You know, she said a lot of personal things. That's actually how I even knew that she still had my name in her mouth. So when her audience, someone came on my page today and said, oh, you're lying, I've never heard her call your name. I'm thinking, your followers are liars. That's why I don't feel sorry for them. They deserve to be lied to. They deserve to be manipulated because they're liars too. How can they say that she hasn't been calling my name when I'm seeing on someone else's Instagram page where she's calling my name, even towards the end of last year? That's it for the end of the year. And I thought, yeah, that's what you think. That's what you think. You know, so everyone has wounds to heal. We need to focus on our healing because it affects our conduct. But the truth is, especially when it comes to like Killer P, he doesn't have no healing to do. He was a born overt narcissist. Life provided all of the right traumas and experiences to make sure he turned out a full-blown narcissist. And I'm a pre-Afua Rose. I'm going to pre her fully to see. I think sometimes I make excuses for her, like, oh, it's probably the man. It's probably, you know, but the truth is, I'm going to go and have a little meditation on it. I'm going to have a look at her natal chart again, because it's easy to say life made the person that way, right? Ultimately, we all, regardless of our experiences, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. And her refusal to do that, her ongoing abuse of women, of men, even children, it is totally demonic. England likes to have some fancy words like, oh, that's so unacceptable. You know what I mean? That's so no, it's demonic. It's wickedness. And so that was the documentary that I put out about Afua Rose. That's the Trauma Pimp Part 1. This is the first review I've done of any of my content. I will be doing another video. I was supposed to check something while the video is playing. I will be doing another video. I will be coming live again tomorrow. What I want to do is, again, topic by topic, because The reason why I created this video, just so you know, I knew that this situation with Afua Rose was going to get worse. I knew that this was going to create an undeniable negative impact upon society. And I also knew that by putting out the video and speaking my truth at that time, doing my little investigation, sharing what I came across, it would create a backlog of information about Afua that doesn't just come from Afua, because her information about herself is it's been manipulated. So people don't even know what her truth is from what her truth isn't. So when DJ Styler got arrested, I said, see, perfect example. The amount of people that's used my content, yeah, the amount of people that were like screenshot stuff that I've said about Afua, and I'll see it on their pages. I'm like, oh, remember how long people were talking about P. Diddy? And someone gave me this reference. Look how long people were talking about P. Diddy and his behaviors, and no one believed. But now all of this has come out. You can look back in YouTube alone and you can see years of what people were saying. That's the same thing that's happening with Afua. That's the same thing. So when story come to bomb, you understand? And when she really meet that real fire, there'll be a whole backlog to demonstrate. You can talk for yourself on your platform, but other people have views. And on that note, thank you so much for staying with me. Please join me again tomorrow. I think I should maybe start a bit earlier. I'm not sure. I was like, it's big people, them one got in bed. You know, it's big 7 minutes to 1 in the morning. Should I do this at like 8 o'clock? Should I do it at 9 o'clock? So please let me know your views if you're here. Love the video. I've dropped some serious gems in this video. Please like the video. If you have been abused, traumatized by Afua Rose, know that you are not alone, and no se goddess not sleep. Nature ain't sleeping. Nature will beat people. Nature alone. Before it even comes to any public thing that we get to see, know that what goes up must come down. And anyone who has, even if you don't see it with your own eyes, just know anyone who has abused you, traumatized you, affected you or your family, know that it's a boomerang effect, and that person inevitably, whether it's in this life or the next, they have to deal with what they've done. Okay? I just thought of you and you said, thank you. You're welcome, Kerry. I just thought of you, you know. I just thought, yeah, you guys need to know that. And also, another thing I want to say is, you need to know, do not be afraid of Afua Rose. That's part of her manipulation tactics. Don't be afraid of her. She's rotten from the psyche, right? How she sees things is rotten and perverse. I've experienced that. Her communication is rotten. Her heart is rotten. I know that whatever she's eating is still sitting in her belly, because her belly has to be rotten for her to be acting so toxic. Down to her front, down to her foot bottom. She's insipid. And what we're bearing witness to is insipid behavior. And it is quite... Dark Circle said, I'm afraid. I'm looking out my window. Don't be afraid. She's like the boogeyman. She's not real. She's not even real. This isn't even a real person. That's the thing. This is not a real person. This is not a real person. This is an anomaly within nature. She's not a real person. And that's why so many people have so much things to say about her. And everyone who hears it, they're in shock. Because she's the same way how they say Jamaica is not a real place. Afua Rose is not a real person. And to reflect upon the transgenerational stuff that we bring, Afua Rose reminds me of some dirty woman or me knowing at Jamaica. Couple of them, both 5. So she, you know, they say you can take the person out of the bush, but you can't take the bush out of the person, or however they say it. It's the same thing. She's only carrying on the same toxic, insipid, destructive energy that is within her own ancestral line. I made a decision that the buck stops with me. I was not going to be the person that carried on all the effery from the ancestral line. I decided I'm going to take the good parts. I can cook. All my family members can cook. Yeah. Food was very important to us. Oh, I love cooking. I love cooking a good pot of food. I'll take that. My family are very giving. They always give to people, you know. They're always very giving. Like, they give gifts to people. They think about others. They think about poorer people. I'll take that. But you see the abuse part, I'm not taking that part. You see the toxic femininity part, I'm not taking that part. So we can make decisions. Like, I like yam. I like ackee. You get what I'm saying? I like breadfruit. I love rice and peas. I love Guinness punch. You get what I'm saying? But that other part over there, that abusing your own children, oh no, I'm not doing that part. And you can make that decision. Afua hasn't categorically made that decision. Afua's issue isn't just with Black men, it's with her own mother. Okay? Everyone has issues, but it's your responsibility to heal. It doesn't matter who did you, what, when, they can't heal you. It is your responsibility to heal. And as Kerry said, I wish she would heal, but you know what? I don't know. I must have spun around the planet too many times. I have no faith at all in Afua's healing. None. And I'm saying that as a healer. I have no, you know why? Everyone, no matter what healing tool is used, right? Everyone is at the center of their own healing, meaning you could be receiving the best healing tool in the world. If you aren't in alignment, receptive, and truly wanting that healing, you cannot be healed. So because I see this unwillingness to heal, and every step she's taking it on her mom, on her exes, on her light-skinned daughter. It's too much. She doesn't like woman. She doesn't like man. She hangs out with, you know, men that are convicted of attacking women. She doesn't have no morals. So I would say my faith for Afua is that in her next life, hopefully, if she carries on the way she's going, it will take her several lifetimes to come back to a decent person, because she has to burn off that karma for what she's done in this life. Karma is not just in this life. It is from life to life to life. The old hardo bread food gal. Hardo bread foot gal. The old hardo bread foot gal is coming for me with her crocodile teeth, hating on the Black man, but she don't want to call her. But she hates Black women too. I know she keeps saying that, but I'm not a Black man. I'm not a Black man. I seen her rub out some Black woman. Something she said to some Black women. If she said that to me, I would probably just knock her out. She's very rude and out of order. She has no manners. Afua pissed off the whole of Brixton and Peckham. I can imagine. She needs to go to church. Well, she says she's a Christian. You know, in Jamaica, them say grease can, because you can't even dry your mouth. Good for the Christian. I say, well, you must be a grease can. You must be. You can never be a Christian. You must be greasing the inside of the can. Anyway, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. More importantly, I hope you've taken something good, even if it's one thing I've said, that you can put in your bonnet and keep it. And bottom line, like, take care of yourselves, be yourselves. Don't be what other people want you to be. Half of them is lost and don't know themselves anyway. So if you're going to be what someone else wants you to be, and that person's lost, you're going to be doubly lost. So be yourself. Women, I have empathy for every woman who's gone through assault, but I do encourage everyone to be intentionally love on yourself, find healing modalities that work for you. Not everything works for everyone. You know, not everyone has to go to therapy. Some people need a different type of therapy. Find what works for you. Find what can help to, you know, close that gap, make you feel more content and happy. Find what makes you feel motivated and inspired. And the same for the men, because many men have been assaulted, and I'll never overlook that. And this isn't even about assault. Like, my channel is not about assault. It's just about everything. So whatever has made you hurt in life, you know, whatever has knocked your confidence, made you question yourself, even if you made some choices that you look back and you're like, bruh, those weren't the best choices. Just be gentle on yourself, because the world is quite harsh and people are quite judgy and harsh, and that can make your own inner critic a bit harsh, you know. And I feel like everyone deserves love, and the first person they deserve to receive it from when they hit adulthood is themselves. Okay, so I'm going to work out what my topic is for tomorrow. I have one more video to review, but I don't know if I'm going to do the back-to-back reviews. Even though I might do, because I do need to get these out of the way to go into the next thing, because I'm definitely going to be breaking down Afua Rose's cognitive dissonance. That I must touch on this week, and I will be back tomorrow. I will be live. I will say for now that it's 10 p.m. If I change my mind, if I feel like it needs, oh my God, I just saw Sully's comment. If I feel like it needs to be moved forward, I'll schedule the video, you'll see it. And please like the video. You know, I don't ask for much. Like, I always forget, even like likes and subscribes. Please like the video. I don't need everybody to subscribe. I don't want Afua's audience over here. All you guys do is show up yourself in the comments, and then I'm going to showcase the comments just to display the level of ignorance, you know. But thankfully, Afua is not the world, and we have some amazing people on this planet. And I just want to give thanks for being connected to you, the clean-hearted ones, not like Afua, who's sitting there going, that cow, and having a heart attack. Not them ones, not the little goats. But for those of you who are connecting positively with me, I do appreciate it. I'm very thankful. And I'm thankful that I have time to actually do these lives. And I'm also thankful that I've had so much support on this channel, because it's a small channel. If you check my videos, my views aren't that bad. They aren't that bad. Like, considering I think I just hit 800 subscribers this weekend. So I'm pretty pleased. And I look forward to doing more with you. So have the beautiful night. Top countries for my channel: the UK, the United States, and Jamaica. So big up to those 3 regions, because I see you in my stats. Oh, last thing. Sully says she needed the security because she can't come to Brixton, and her security are putting themselves at danger. I invited Afua to Harlesden to the park once. This is before I'd met her, because I only met her once. I've only seen her once, and that was at the march. I was having a gathering in the park because I'm a nature girl. I love bush. I love water. And I invited her, and she literally almost had a panic attack. And she said to me, she can't go to Harlesden because she's called out so much man in Harlesden. And if people see her, and you know what the truth is? She's got a, what do you call it? A deluded sense of grandeur. She's got a deluded sense of grandeur, because I don't think anyone would do one thing to Afua if they see her in Harlesden. Seriously. I don't even believe that. Oh no, can't you go to Richmond Park? I goes, well, I want to go to Harlesden. I'm from Northwest London. I want to go to Ramwood Park. And she's like, oh no, I don't think I can come and do that, you know. So loop de dupe, you know. Oh my God. Now you're burning out Hurricane Toya. Hurricane Toya is out of order. She is. She's a big go. And the only reason I know of her is because when I did go on the live, she came and she followed me on every platform. And the minute Afua said came, as this spit drop out Afua mouth, Hurricane Toya run me gone with it. So the word them are some old tough goats. I'm not talk about no pretty little kid goat neither. Some old nanny goat. You can tell I'm Jamaican. Them old nanny goats with the crusty fur, you know. But I wish them all well. I wish you all healing. If you can't get it in this life, may you get it in the next. And on that note, I am going to go. So thanks for being here. It's great to do these lives. I'm really enjoying them. And I'll see you tomorrow. Don't make nobody take liberty with you, yeah? All right. Blessings. Deuces.
They love her when she's submissive, when she's sensual, when she is fine. But they hate her when she expresses what is on the feminine mind.